Hey guys, just starting the stream now. So this is going to be a little bit different of a hangout. We had a tragedy a week ago in the community and in my personal life. Very close, dear friend of mine who was also part of the OPS community took her own life. And yeah, if anyone wants to come up and share stories about her, you're welcome to. Otherwise, we can just talk about whatever. It doesn't matter, but that would take precedent. It looks like Jason's here, but he's not here. He was in the backstage, but he's not here. So yeah, anyone who wants to come up and talk about anything, or Deanna, or ask questions. I don't have all the information, but all the information that we have is right now in my lap. So I think also her friend Gelly said, from her personal friend from who's known her 20 years, might hop on later, but not sure. And yeah, there's a vigil for her tomorrow. I just won't be able to make it. Yeah. But yeah, we could talk about other stuff too. So I don't know how much YouTube will block it out if I talk about her. Oh, hey, Catherine. You could jump on. There's a link in the description if you want to jump on. Yeah, I don't know how much context to give for people who don't know her. There's an interview on my channel where I interviewed her. Oh, here we go. Luna's here.
I don't know how much context to give for people who don't know her.
Okay. Are you a troll?
Oh,
you're muting. Okay. Oh, okay. You're using a voice changer. You don't want us to recognize you. I gotcha. Yeah, so very special woman. Her type was FENE. She dug herself into kind of a dead end in her life, where she really wanted to have kids and it just became too late. Hey, buddy. Yeah, you can jump on and yeah, of course, Catherine. Of course, Catherine. Yeah, we're just talking about someone that we lost this week. Luna, I think you're yeah. You got YouTube open.
Who are you talking about? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
But I can hear myself too through you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll just keep it without it. Who are you talking about?
I can still hear myself through you, I think. No, it's better. So we're talking about Deanna Hunt or Deanna Marie. I don't remember what her name was when she was being interviewed. But yeah, she got to a point where she couldn't have kids anymore, and she really wanted kids. And she also felt like a burden to everyone around her, and she didn't want to feel like a burden anymore. So yeah, I don't agree at all with the path that she took, but yeah, it's just a sad story. So she was actually okay with it. Like, it's sad for us, but for her, she was processed and at peace with her decision. But yeah, it hit us all really hard because she was a very big personality, a big light, very energetic.
Right.
Sorry for your loss too, Kim. Yeah, but we can talk about other things too. If I just wanted to share stories if anyone had any. So nice to meet you, Luna. Who are you?
I'm good. She seemed very sweet.
Yes, yeah, very sweet. And not a lot of people like her. Yep. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. So we can talk about other things in the meantime, if you want. Luna, where are you from?
I'm from India.
Okay.
Um,
Nice. Are you the anonymous learner?
yeah.
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah. So nice to finally get the chance to talk to you. We've been talking on emails and
Um,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
So you're have you been typed yet? Have you
No, I'm not ready to find out my type yet.
right. Yep. So what are you doing in India? Are you a student?
Yeah, I'm a master's student.
Oh, nice. I think you mentioned that. Okay.
Hmm.
What is your thesis?
Uh, it hasn't mostly on large language models.
Oh, okay, yeah. Nice. It's a good field to go into now. Yeah.
So, does Diana have like who includes her family closest ones?
Her family and
Oh,
closest friends. So Deanna's father passed. Her biological father passed. She never really met him. Um, her mother is still around. She's got an aunt. And yeah, she had lots of friends. Everyone loved her. Lots of best friends there that sort of all drifted apart. Yep. How's it going, buddy?
Good.
Good.
Hi. How are you?
Yeah, just sort of dedicating this a little bit to Dianna, who passed last week, a week ago today. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
but we can talk about other things if no one is here. I know people will come eventually to talk about her, so we can do that at some point. But what's on your mind? What have you been processing?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even. I did get my results though from OPS.
Oh, nice. And
Um, I'm like what's
bye, Luna. What's
um
that?
the result was FISI
Nice.
safe consume blast play.
Nice. Okay. And does that make sense now to you finally?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I mean, INFP,
I-
you were thinking that for the longest time.
Yeah, it was like always. Yeah, it was hard to get away from it, but it was yeah. With the being, it was a surprise though to be that introverted. Is my mic loud enough?
No, yeah, you're good. You're good. We hear you.
Okay. Yeah. It's basically it's the first time you type me. That's what you got, but the different modality.
A different modality. Okay.
Yeah, if you remember. Um,
Visual. They got you visual. Nice. Masculine, any.
yeah. Being introverted, or just yeah, I feel a lot better from processing that, and I felt like I was like really losing touch of myself trying to be too extroverted. And then when I started to
Yeah. Yeah, you can keep going.
no problem. That was my point anyway.
Yeah, very introverted. I know. Very stuck in your own world. Yeah.
Yeah, when I start talking, I don't realize like how other people are going to interpret it. It's very like I just have all this stuff stacked up, and I go to share it, and I'm like, oh wait, like it's very jarring. I'm like, how do I make this like match what is going on with everyone else?
Yeah. Yeah, blast last is. I think we always got you as blast last.
No, it's play last.
Oh, your play last in the end.
That's what. Yeah,
Oh, okay, all right.
blast play.
So we always got you blast last, right? Not play last.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think because of the context, the way that I was like processing or like saying my thoughts out loud, um, I wasn't really like tapping into that like info dump. I was just saying my thoughts out loud.
Yeah, but I mean, even in your emails, you would write me an email, and you're like, "No, no, don't respond. I don't need your response. I'm just processing." I'm like, "Okay, all right, just keep writing." Remember? So, like, for me, that's not info dummy. Yeah,
Yeah, but that's because I'm like I don't care that it's email. I'm just
okay,
I'm just using it for like a different purpose than
I
it's kind
see.
of intended. Yeah.
Huh?
So like and this that stresses me out because I don't want you to feel like I don't want to cause things like you to be disturbed. If you saw it like how I saw it, then you would just okay, just read it and that like it's not there's no stress, right? It's just
Right.
but because of the nature of the context of the email, the purpose that it's usually for, and the the fact that we're all busy and stuff, it's like it's kind of hard to interpret what I'm doing. But I don't think that was good. I think that's overextending. I've learned I'm learning not to do that.
I mean, I was cool with it. I mean, with other people, maybe it's not so great, but it didn't bother me at all. I got it. Yeah. But just it didn't seem very infodom with me because you didn't want the info exchange. You just wanted to get out your whatever you had there.
Yeah, I don't know because it was purely about me. So what info do you have? That's kind of like that.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Because like only I really have something to say about. I don't know.
Yeah. Sure.
Pardon me. I don't know about Deanna.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more?
Yeah, she joined the community a while back. Back when I started to. She also was one of the first in CRG as well. She helped us get the report together. As soon as she heard about CRG, she just joined, no questions. And was troubled. She called it sleep. Very troubled by her sleep, whatever that was. I don't know what it was. And needed to process it, and was incoherent to most people. And most people didn't have the patience to try to decode what she was saying. And so I sort of stepped in to try to fill that role and became a close friend because of that. Trying to decode what she was saying was a challenge. And whenever we were finished talking, it was a bit frustrating because she didn't come to a decision or a conclusion or anything. And I'd say, okay, but do you feel more processed now than you did before? And she says, yeah. So like, okay, well, good. That's the goal. If every time we get a little bit more processed, then things will be better. Yeah. And she would message me later and be like, oh, wow, my head is silent. Whatever that was, it went away after we were able to process what it was. Yeah. But I don't know what it was.
That's good. I think I did see a little bit of interview with her.
Right.
I went through a lot of interviews, and yeah, I remember. Is her type FE first?
FENE, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like she's got the inferior TI.
Right, yeah. Yeah. She was blast last as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, that's good. It takes a long time, and then as an outsider, you're looking for some kind of reassurance or something to feel like there's something that's working.
Yeah.
But if she's saying that
There were a few things. There were a few things that, like, I do want to share. She was also very deeply affected by the world and the way the world was. She was very movable with everything that was going on and happy to be, like with pleasure. Like every time she would be self-sacrificing anything, just very happy to do it. Yeah, that's the type there, anonymous learner. And yeah, I honestly think like she was just a I don't want to say a victim of her environment, but very influenced by her environment. And because of that, she was able to see what in the environment was bad for her. And as an extension, what in the environment is generally bad for everybody. And yeah, it was a really interesting perspective to try to see. And so like from that, she has a few messages that she was never able to get across, but one of them was to have children as early as possible. She said she should have had a child when she was 13. I know she was exaggerating, but I don't actually know that. but yeah, that was one of her messages. And because society was always trying to delay it, her marriage was trying to delay it. Everyone was delaying it, and then it just got too late, and she was just completely movable, never pushing on what she wanted until it was too late. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, yeah. I've been hearing that like waiting until you're old enough to like really be a good parent and stuff. And yeah, I know someone who really wanted kids, but
Right.
her to-be sister-in-law really was saying you shouldn't because of all this
Yeah.
that she was researching. And yeah.
Well,
But-
so the thing is, if we did as a society do what she's sort of observing and feeling, then we would have more intergenerational parenting going on. So grandparents would be at that age where they're more responsible, and they would they would be able to step in and help more with that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So even if we did start having kids younger, we would be intergenerationally raising them. I don't know. That's kind of the stuff she was seeing, and I think it's all very interesting because it's from the perspective of that what was really moving her, and what she saw the world should have been for her to have been happy in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important because
Yeah.
our relationship with parents is very like you're not really. It's not really. They're more just trying to protect you and control you to make sure that like things go right. But it's like
Yeah.
grandparents because
She had any. I just want to take an aside. She considered all the options, every option she considered. Yeah, death was not her. Death was her last option. Sorry, keep going.
Grandparents don't like what because the parents are doing that. So as a kid, you can like hate your parents for controlling you. Your grandparents are, and they're more experienced. They're more worldly because they've been through it all. So they're an important part of like teaching the kid what the world's like. Whereas the kid doesn't want to listen to the parents.
That's right. Yeah. Well, because and also the parents are there also in a disciplinary measure as well. Like they're more hands-on. They have to do the grunt work, the dirty work, all that stuff, and then the grandparents get to sit back and just reap the benefits. Should be really nice being a grandparent, but you have to have kids first. They have to grow up enough. They have to have their own kids, and then you get to be a grandparent. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And by that time, you're old enough to be settled, not like so agenda driven and.
Yeah. Yeah, there was something else I wanted to mention. I like your being play last. You should not be very affected, or at least not aware of how affected you are by your environment.
Yeah, it's kind of like I'm very aware of what's matching like the sleep stuff, but then everything else is just I have a good sense of like when something in my environment is not matching the like something's off. Like for example, if I'm operating a vehicle, it's very like I can go into my head or I could be talking to someone very, very intently, but it's like an autopilot. If I see the light turn change, or if I see a car braking, or just something that's not something that requires attention, it just like snaps to it. But otherwise, I'm not paying attention.
Hey, Anna.
Hello.
Yeah.
Howdy. How's it going, guys?
Good. Well, as good as it could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for muting when you burped. That was good.
I didn't know.
Decider things, okay? I gotta control my
no,
image.
I'm just joking. Yeah.
Just
You wish you could have told her that you agreed with her on that and see the same thing. The integrational ties of how we build societies. Yeah. Intergenerational. Yeah. Another thing that she was struggling with was typology, actually. Oh, you got some good feedback here. Not that you care about play feedback, but there it is. Yeah, so she was struggling with typology with it came to the point where she couldn't see the world through anything else but typology. And she couldn't explain herself or any mechanisms that were going on inside her without referring to typology. And yeah, she wanted to stop. And she pointed at that as something that was really destroying her relationships too, because nobody else spoke that language. Like nobody else cares about OPS and typology. So once she links those terms and those ideas, and that's her language, that becomes her SI language. I don't know how SI works, but you guys both do. Then it's just so hard to speak without using those words and without referring to those concepts in that way, I guess. And it really isolated her. And as an EJ, you don't want to be isolated. It's a nightmare to just feel alone, and I don't know, for her at least it was. I see Anna rolling her eyes. But yeah, no one had the patience to listen. So that was another thing she was also trying to express.
Yeah, I can see that. I can feel that. I'm definitely clinging to OPS language and typology language as a mechanism, especially with identity last, and it's feminine, and so I'll take anything I can get to cling onto to try to understand myself. And yeah, I mean, I'm info dumb, so I still will completely bombard everyone with the OPS stuff, even if they don't want it, which can be my way to connect with others. But
Yeah.
it's not received
Yeah.
very often.
Well, that's the thing too, because within the community, it's how we connect to other people. So,
Yes.
and we're associating that unconsciously. We're connecting to others with this, and then, yeah, outside,
And
you don't
then,
have that.
yeah, exactly. I just ran into this with
That's good,
my
Manny. That's good.
my therapist as well. I'm just like, how do I talk to this person without using OPS language? I
Right.
don't know how.
Right.
How can I be? And so I did. But I did realize I am looking for that same feedback loop. Like I'm looking for her to
Confirm the theory.
direct me, ask the questions, let me do my blast, like my process sleep blast loop. But like avoiding the actual NT play that I desperately need to do in a therapy session. So
Yeah.
old habits die hard.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to want to connect to people and want to share yourself with people, but that was one of the things that was the second piece of the puzzle that really got her to take that path, because she felt like a burden anytime she was talking to people. And between us, she wasn't not a burden. It was hard to talk to her. And a lot of the people in her life, close friends, things like that, sort of had boundaries and things on how deep she could go. So she didn't really have anyone to share what she called sleep with. And yeah, I would see her over and over again ping people and be like, "Hey, what are you doing? Can I call you?" And then over and over again, people would be like, "No, no."
Mm.
And just, I don't know how it is. You're not a play savior, EJ, but I don't know how it is for other play savior EJs who do that pinging and then just get the no over and over again, and then just go back into their little
Rejection.
right, and then they're stuck. There's no one else to process. There's no one else there to go to. No other pathway. Yeah.
Did she know her social type? I don't remember.
She didn't know her social type. She definitely was very giving. She would see a stranger in need. She would take off her shoes and give it to them. She was very for-like.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, she was very too-like. Not in the way that she's got an ulterior motive for things, but more in the way, and she wanted to make a business. She wanted to build something
Mm.
in that way. So yeah, take that with whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know her too well.
Yeah.
That must be, yeah, I can only imagine how difficult it is to process if you're play first like that. And and EJ. Yeah, like it's like all I'm doing is just processing like all the time, and it's hard. I
Yeah.
can't imagine how hard it would be if I needed to involve other people. And what I was trying to figure out was the like an inferior TI,
Yeah.
because for
That
me it's like
and you speak this weird any language version that everyone has to decrypt to try to understand you. It's yeah.
yeah, I'm bothering people with my sleep consume or whatever all the time.
but
Good.
it doesn't matter. You don't need them. Yeah. You
Yeah,
process
and
it with
it
them.
doesn't, because I don't actually have to involve them in it. It doesn't. It's not like a bother.
Yeah.
Like I'm not actually needing the.
It's just
Yeah.
extra. It's just like a
Yeah.
oh.
I just
And
feel if I don't talk to anyone, then I don't develop the
Right.
sort of thinking. So
And she also got into a state where her whole life she was always attached to somebody, always had a friend, always had a husband, always had somebody. And then for the
Mhm.
first time she found herself in a situation where there was nobody. She was all on her own. And
I had that epiphany lately as well. There
yeah.
is always someone I'm circling around, and if there is no one, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah.
I can relate to that, but it's not like, but I can it's not a problem in the same way. But I think maybe um, like there could be sort of one person or one kind of thing that's really the focus at a time. But I also will like completely starve myself of all socializing as well. If I don't do that, it's not good.
Yeah.
Not good for anyone, but yeah. Just
Yeah,
in
it's not
different
like
ways.
I can just reach out to. It's not like I just have like a list of friends that I just reach out to randomly. It's more like like really want to specifically talk to my sibling or I want to email Benjamin for some reason. It's like it's like I'm not going to get the same thing by just talking to anyone.
Yeah.
True.
And the other thing is with her degree of processing, it's not enough to just have one person because that'll drain that one person and they won't be able to hold up that load.
Yeah, you need
And
everybody.
you need to be able to go to everybody. And yeah, it's hard when you have that language that nobody else understands and they have to really invest in you to try to learn your language, to try to know how to decode you and decrypt you. And then yeah, you can't just bounce on everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely can feel that burden when I'm asking for that from one person.
Right.
And then I'm
Oh,
like,
you
wait,
feel like a burden as well. Yeah.
well, it's just that I want to distribute that to get a better consensus. It's not,
As well. Okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like they won't have all the answers for me, no matter who they are, the one person.
Right.
It's got to be across several people
Right.
to get actual perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian's agreeing. He's also ESTJ.
Mm-hmm.
But
All
yeah,
the
so
TJs.
one of the things that she was realizing is a lot of people have very bad advice, and so she had to be very selective as well with who she listened to because it's not TE, it's TI. She wasn't
Uh-huh.
sorting the TE out.
Right. Because I was just about to say
Right.
there's no such thing as bad advice. And then,
Right.
yeah,
So
there you
if
go.
she takes that bad advice and makes it her TI, it becomes very bad and toxic for her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, the FE DOMs are way more selective with who they take advice from for sure.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I
definitely
hadn't considered that.
don't listen to advice unless they are sure the person understands their TI a little bit first.
Yeah.
Did I just give bad advice? What's my bad advice, buddy? You just tell me what that is. Yeah.
Interesting advice. So what's the inverse for TE
Is the FI. It's not the advice. It's,
yeah,
I don't know what
the
that would be.
shared value system? I don't know, something to
Priorities.
we like the same thing. Okay, now we can get to the
That or like, so FE advice, right? On how to process emotions is just let them out.
right.
It's like, oh yeah, just let them out, just share them, just express
Yeah,
them.
no problem.
And so it's like you can go to every FE and they'll just try to get you to do that and try to get you, but yeah, I don't think that's what you guys are actually looking for. You need someone to actually understand your FI before they can go in there and dig around. If that makes sense. That would be the math, at least.
Yeah, there's always
Yeah.
like trying to pick at people to see if they like the same things as I do.
Right.
to then align in that way, and then I can consider their, external reasons, the TE stuff, after we've taken
Yeah.
advice is a bad idea.
TESE there. Is that your advice? Yeah. And I think also people don't understand how much the tribe can actually influence EJs. I don't know if you have something on that. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Also, just the other day, I asked my husband, well, I like reminded him that I need validation and in very subtle ways constantly. So, yes, Anna, you can eat that. Yes, Anna, you can buy that. Yes, Anna, you can do that. Like, they are the little everyday things that, to his masculine FI, he's just like, yeah, whatever, do what you want. That's probably how he perceives everyone to do the same thing, in their mind. Meanwhile, I'm always like giving cues that I need permission. So,
Right. Right. That's draining too.
not
Yeah.
allowed.
You're not allowed to ask for permission.
Not allowed to do anything without anybody
Right.
else's. Yeah, big time.
They have to do it voluntarily.
Except for that one time you actually did it without their permission and then you got in trouble for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the one that sticks out like a
Biggest
sore thumb.
regret. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be the biggest regret.
The regret. Yeah.
The biggest fear. Oh no, I picked something that the tribe didn't like. Rejection, immediate.
So another thing I can also say very clearly, she had a pattern that she wasn't able to see herself, but it was a very clear pattern of the any overworking the any on the pathway. Okay, you're on a pathway. For me as an NI, it's like, okay, you're on a pathway. Something gets in your way or it gets hard, just break it. Just keep pushing through it. You have this pathway. But for like the any double activated masculine, it's looking for another pathway. Okay, maybe this pathway over here. Maybe let's jump. Maybe let's jump. And what I was noticing is if you just keep changing pathways, you don't ever end up on a pathway. You just end up never being on that pathway and losing all pathways. Like you're on no pathway. And it was really hard to get that across to her because I was seeing that a lot. And a lot of the times it served her, which is probably why it was so strong. Like a lot of the times it's good. Like she was really good at getting what she wanted. She was really good at finding that pathway and getting what she wanted. But when it extends to longer periods of time than, I don't know, let's say a few months, staying on a pathway is hard. Yeah. So like, for example, she wanted to have a child, and one of the ways she was going to have a child was she was getting this job. When she worked at a job long enough, she would get this healthcare, and the healthcare would let her do some kind of special fertilization or whatever. So like she was on that pathway and then jump. Yeah.
It's very frustrating,
Yeah.
especially if you're DE, OE, and possibly a number 2. It's a
Right.
lot of breadth,
Right.
less maybe depth in some areas with the intuition in that case. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you need the strength sometimes just to sit on a pathway that you don't want to be on in order to get through it. Like focus on the end. For me, like that's my advice as an NI, but you guys have to process it differently. I didn't know how to get that across. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to a lot of that. And it sounds like she was really trying to figure out the inferior TI from what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like she really wanted to figure that out. And maybe she needed to for some reason. I don't know. It seems like some people they don't really need to like they can just kind of their life kind of works out.
Hmm.
And but it sounded like for some reason it wasn't working. And then she tried to she needed more than OPS maybe.
Yeah.
Work through that.
And OPS actually disrupted her life as well. She was on a pathway and then she left. And then in the end, in the note that she left behind was that conclusion. I never should have left that first pathway. I never should have started jumping. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see how the advice would help me to like focus on an end.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're on a bad path, jump. Like that's something that I need to learn as well. Like I need more of that in my life because I'm stuck on some bad
Oh,
paths
I
and I'm just
see.
on them.
Right.
But
Yeah, you're seeing that
this
a lot more
specific,
objective.
yeah, this specific pathway that she was on, she should have stayed on that one. And
I see.
That's why I think it's additive. It's not just any, it's a number of things.
Right. Yeah, even that conclusion could be technically wrong. You're right. She was rewriting her past. She was rewriting all of the on ramps and off ramps that she should have taken or didn't take, or what would have happened if I took this on ramp and this off ramp. You guys know how that works in the SI, right? In the narratives.
I don't know, with all the OI and the
Yeah.
number 3 thing, I just never had a problem picking a path and doing it.
Okay.
And I think career is a common, point of choosing, right? And that one I knew from like 3 years old. It's a very, I mean, we heard this before with a couple 3s, just like knowing what their life's mission
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So,
I think you're right. It could have been a lie as well. Her conclusion on that, but it didn't really matter for her. It was whatever the right path, like that's what she was constantly trying to process. But whatever the right path was and the wrong path was, or whatever, like you are where you are. She was where she was, and choosing a new path, not regretting all of the old path, but choosing a new path, finding something to live for, is what I would have tried to push if I was able to get there. My problem was like she was out of my care. She was under the care of her mother there and her aunt and her friends, and they ended up putting her in a hospital because she did go to a bad part of town and tried to get them to kill her. That was like she didn't know how to do it, so she went there, and everyone there was like, "You're beautiful, you're young, you're vibrant. Like just go live, enjoy your life. You have so much to live for." Like everyone in the bad part of town was trying to convince her to go live, and then so they stuck her in a hospital as well after that. And so, like they should have been all alerted to something like that, and I wasn't aware. I thought she was still ideating on should I or shouldn't I, but she wasn't. She was long past the should I or shouldn't I phase, and she was on the how do I phase. what are all of the steps, the SI steps? How do I narrow down? Yeah.
Yeah. If you're like EJ like that, maybe, or like her type, how do you? I feel like that it would be harder to tell someone. It could be really hard.
Yeah, because especially the TI, like these thoughts, as soon as you say these thoughts to someone who is in medical care or is like a mother who's really worried about her child or whatever, these thoughts are no, you're not allowed to think these thoughts. Get away. We'll stick you here. We'll give you this medication. We'll do this. This was always the reaction of people. And she needed to be able to go into those thoughts and actually resolve them and process them. Yeah. Not the how-to thoughts, the should I, shouldn't I thoughts, that kind of ideation that
And
Yeah.
what to live for, right?
right. What to live for. And
Because if you're inferior TI, you can't just say stuff that other people said to you. Like
That's
you
right.
have to have you have to come up with it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to
Yeah,
think.
that's true. Yeah. You have to, yeah, when I was talking to her, I have to build her TI. I have to get her TI to be strong. That's right.
Hmm.
And that's, you know,
Yeah.
the desire to be validated there, FE validated.
Yeah. Yeah. So these thoughts were going back a long time. They were going back a long time. She was talking about steering into oncoming traffic and things like that. Which are thoughts that need to be not dismissed. They're thoughts that need to be resolved for sure. Yep. In her interview. Yeah. Yeah. What's going on here? Oh, I got something else playing in the background. Never mind. Yeah, no, it's a big hit for the community because someone who is that extroverted was pinging a lot of people, asking advice from a lot of people, getting a lot of people invested in her life, making a lot of acquaintances and friends, and just everybody knew her. So yeah, it has a big effect. Yeah. How do you guys build up your DI as FI?
Hi.
Hey, Sadet.
Ooh. Interesting. I don't know. I'm double activated FI and I still don't know.
But you guys probably have those ideations as well, right? You're not immune from, but it's a different process. It's a different building up of the DI to get over it, right?
It's not the actual. It's not what it seemed like because the ideal seems to be something, but that's thinking. So like, I I'm trained in music, so I had a lot of like, the ideal would be making music, but then when I actually do I actually take actions, actually over the time I see my life and everything, it doesn't what I actually built up wasn't should I make music or not. That's not what I'm building up. It's the experience of how everything feels to be valuable to me. All the intricacies of that aren't about music. Exactly. I have to go through everything. So what that means is eventually it's about priority. So
Priority.
yeah, because value. So something's more or less valuable. There's dimensions to value too. It's not just more or less, but it becomes like yeah, I want to make music, but when I direct that creative thing to something else, it works better. The value, the neurochemistry works better.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. So I was interviewing. I was going to ask you about this too. I was interviewing Michael, and he was talking about that. Is like he would just build beliefs, and when he had a belief that didn't make him happy anymore, he would get rid of that belief and bring in a new belief.
Yeah, my mind is very, very hostile to beliefs, extremely hostile to my own, and I
To
also hold them really
Is that masculine?
strongly, yeah,
no.
it might be.
No, it's what I mean is
He's feminine. Fi.
what I mean is it's hostile um like I am trying to I don't want to have to kill beliefs. That's terrifying to me. But it's like I need to figure out what they are, and so that's what's hostile about it. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is very,
To process them. No. I got what you're saying. Just answering this. Yes, I agree. I've seen this pattern as well. I've seen this for sure. Not TI, but Demon TI.
I feel like I can be. I've always said this before, that I can be a good candidate for like being manipulated or for a cult. Hello, I'm in OPS.
Oh.
But I mean, because it's FI and it's last and it's feminine, I don't know what I value. I don't. It can switch out every day. And
Right.
so if you make a strong enough argument, I'm a goner.
Right. You follow the TE, not the FI.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the job of a good FI is to be able to resist that. Yeah.
To sift through it. Like, what is it that you want to hold on to?
Yeah, I'm thinking like the extremes, like if you're in a Nazi Germany or whatever, and they make all the good arguments to join the Nazi Germany stuff, do you have a strong enough value to push against that? Yeah.
Yes, big time. And that's where it becomes silly if I hold on to things that are not worth fighting for. But for some reason, I've decided that it's worth holding on to, and then really forcefully push back with masculine TE at the top. I'm like, how dare you challenge my idea of this thing being valuable? I worked so hard to keep it. Which is foreign to some people.
Do you
So
think
that
feminine feeling can be more
so that you have a masculine FI or feminine FI?
Masculine.
Masculine. So maybe you can shed light. Is it different?
I definitely do know what, like, I would like to think that if I was in Nazi Germany situation, my value from the get-go, from the beginning, like, I do not agree with what is going on here, and like not agree with what everyone else is doing, and like not engage in it. Like, I would like to think I would be that type of person in that environment.
We all would, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of like what I value, I wish I could be like Anna, and like I wake up every day and changes. Sometimes I want to change what I care about, but I can't. And that becomes the problem for me, because sometimes I have to let go, but it's really hard to let go sometimes. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I
Like
want to,
in terms of like a crush sort of thing too, or something like that.
yeah, also like not being able to let go of pain, of like what has wrong, like what has hurt me, like forgive and let go, like I like one of the values and principles that I have that I created when I was like 11 or something, that to not hold revenge and not hold that grudge feeling against people. But it is like I'm working against myself, because all I want to do is just stir that angry feeling against that person and stack and stack. But like it is not like positive mindset, and it just, that bitterness just hurts me instead. So but I know we are talking about FI now, but something that I want to say about
Yeah. Do you have a
suicide.
story or something?
No, I want to talk about
The
two
ideation?
people that have committed suicide in our community.
Yeah.
I talked to both of them, and interestingly enough, the pattern is they both have demon DI. One of them has demon masculine FI, and other one has demon masculine TI.
Oh, wow. You
And
got 2 people and you're already making a pattern.
yeah, and they're both intuitive, so it is
Oh, they're
demon
both intuitive.
sensory
There
and
you go.
demon DI.
Well,
So
that's the
yeah.
pattern then. You're all doomed.
No, but I want to, like, maybe, because I heard about Deanna yesterday, like what has happened to her, and also it reminded me of other person who committed suicide. And like my experience of both of those people is that I didn't talk to Deanna lately, but the other person was isolating themselves. I don't know if Deanna was isolating
She
herself.
was. Yeah, she was. She was.
Okay.
And we were talking a lot, and she would always, not just in this case, but she would always try not to incriminate me in our conversations. She would make sure that she didn't give me information that could be used against me. She was very careful with that. So she didn't tell me her plan. She didn't tell me what she was planning, nothing like that. She would drop hints that I would have to try to pick up on. And she did drop a hint to me. I just wasn't able to get it. And the hint was, there's like this show on Amazon Prime. It was called Red Queen. Like it's in Spanish. And she said the first 5 minutes of that is what her suicidal ideation was. And I wasn't able to. I got a Prime account after she passed to go and see it. But if I would have, it was really that. It wasn't ideation of should I, shouldn't I. It was ideation on how do I. And if I would have known that, if I would have gotten that hint, then I would have been able to. I don't know. Once she makes up her mind on, yeah, I know.
No,
But
don't think that.
once she makes up on her mind on something, she finds a way. But at least have a conversation with her about it and try to process it. But
Yeah, this other person who committed suicide was also an INTJ, and when we were talking, he said that he doesn't want to talk to me anymore because like that he wants to stay in that isolation mode. Like he just said that, but I didn't think that it would lead to that.
yeah,
But when it comes to Deanna, like I have like such a like weird like idea of her, because when we met, I think she didn't know, like we met once, and after
in
that,
person.
no, online. We talked
Okay,
online, but after that we talked online again, and I think she didn't remember me. She didn't
probably not.
remember
Yeah,
that we talked before, and that things that she said to me was two different things, like two opposite things, and I was very surprised to hear that. And but I didn't tell her that you told me the exact opposite information about yourself before, because I didn't want to make her feel
yeah.
uncomfortable. But
No, she would do that. She
what
would rewrite her narrative, and it would just be completely different.
yeah, which is like so interesting. I'm like, is this, at that time I was thinking like, is that like maybe she changed her mind about things and now she's this identity instead?
It's
But
yeah, it's not an identity thing. It's not FI thing, but it's
okay.
definitely it's like changing the perspective on her narrative, like shifting.
Any
Yeah, shifting It's the same SI, but just putting a different NE on the whole SI.
Yeah. Like what, for example, one of the things like that wanting kid things is at that time she was married to a guy, and she said that she never wanted to have kids and she wanted to learn how to type instead, and she wants to
Right.
spend her time
Yeah.
typing people.
That
And I was like,
wasn't
okay,
true. That wasn't
that
true.
was
That was what her husband wanted. She
to,
said,
yeah.
I don't want, but it was what he didn't want. Yeah.
Yeah, but at that time she expressed it as maybe she was trying to convince herself that's what she wanted as well.
That's right. That's right.
And after that, she's like, I want to have kids. And I'm like, but you said in my
Right.
you
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah. That's different.
And
That's a
she
different thing.
wanted to have kids, and
She
I didn't
always
know
wanted to have
what.
kids. So her best friend Gelly told me this, that since they were really young, she always wanted to have kids. And then
Yeah,
because of her marriage, she moved to that, which
Mhm.
it's just like if she would have pushed back a little bit, she would have had kids. She was just so movable. Like he would have been happy to like, this is what I want. What do you want? She's like, oh, I'll just do what you want.
Yeah.
Oops.
EJ,
Because
what?
he would have been very movable on that, I'm
Yeah.
sure. And, yeah.
That's not what I heard.
Okay.
Hey,
Anyway, I'm not gonna go into details, but I think I don't agree with that approach that he would. Sorry. I have homemates. So what I was saying is that, like, of course, now that she's passed away, I'm very like sorry, and I'm feeling like almost angry at her to like not use that any to her own advantage, or to her, like, to help her save herself, because like that's what, like, we're supposed to use our savers for, right? Like to save us from whatever situation we are in. Like, I don't know why she couldn't have maybe biological kids, but maybe she could have opted for other options. Like, of course now I cannot change what has happened, but I wish like I could be there for her to,
She's had
like,
those
just
conversations. She's thought it all through. All of it. Yeah.
and she didn't want like adoption or
She was the most processed. Like, I've seen her in a lot of states and always unprocessed. And she was the most processed I've ever seen her in her life at the end. Very processed.
yeah, I wish this wasn't the conclusion she came to.
Me too. Yeah.
Like, this suicide topic is just, I don't know how to process it. I don't know how to approach it. And I don't know like how to detect, like, I guess I do not have the pattern to detect people who might be going towards that direction. And
Yeah.
I don't know
I
anything
mean,
about it.
that's a societal problem for sure as well.
Yeah.
It's not a Sadet problem, but it's good that you're trying to solve it. Try to pattern everything.
No, but when, like, in
I'll
high
tell you
school,
what
I
the
was
pattern
very,
is. I know what it is. It's
okay.
they have to be intuitive and demon DI. There you go.
Yeah. Mm, um, yeah.
I think both. I think both. The problem is, before jumping on a new pathway, she would always be processed on that new pathway and released, and in this state. She would be in this exact state before jumping on this new pathway. Once she was on that pathway, then she would be like, oh, all of my presuppositions and all of my certainty and all of my processing, I'm disagreeing with it now, and I want to jump to a new pathway. And so this is definitely possible unless it's a final pathway, and she can't jump out of it anymore. So, but yeah, this is definitely a pattern that, yeah, processed and released, but just going into the pathway. Yeah.
A lot of the way you describe it like that is relatable for me trying to figure out demon thinking, and maybe also
Yeah.
having any whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like the the past like 6 months for me, it's just all I've been doing trying to figure out demon thinking. It sounds similar to what you're saying. Or
Okay, how do you
what
see
you're saying is
demon thinking? I would like to hear your thoughts.
well, actually, at one point I did think that I was FE first, and then I was trying to figure out. Don't laugh at me.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing at the idea that someone could type you as FE first
This
with
is
your
this
mope
is
energy.
what demon thinking has to do.
No, I know. Yeah, I
Because
got it.
you have to do it yourself,
Right.
right? Like, so I have to actually go there and try to think what like I think for some reason I think that
I'm questioning if you're right because you have Demon TE. So Demon TE is not yourself. You could definitely outsource that and bonk off of people's heads and then figure out what you think by asking a bunch of people. But you
yeah,
wouldn't
sorry,
because you're Demon Play.
but my language is when I say I was like when maybe I don't know. That actually is what happened.
Yeah.
My conclusion was I'm INFP, and then my other conclusion is that I'm. But sorry.
No, you came to the right
It's just
conclusion
the
in
way
the
I'm
end.
speaking. It's the way I'm speaking that makes it sound like I'm. When I say I think I'm. I don't actually think things. That's the key. But in my language,
You don't
do you see how impossible it is for me to actually try to get
communicate.
on the same
Yeah.
page is what I'm.
Right.
What's going on?
Think is the word people use, and you relate to something that you're doing.
But language is
Processing.
so
Yeah.
interpretable. So I'm trying to figure out if I'm extroverted feeling first, and then I'm reading Jung's description of the types, and I'm understanding how he's doing like he's comparing these two sides of things, and I noticed that it was I started thinking if someone has introverted thinking last inferior, then they're going to be, and this is my thoughts thinking that I was extrovert feeling, they're going to be what they're really doing is taking on all the value. And so when they go to have a thought, they think they're doing TE. So this is the demon TE. So you can imagine like you come to a conclusion with inferior introverted thinking, but you think you're doing TE because you operate as if you're doing TE because you're FE first. And so am I glitching?
You are glitching, yeah, and the sound too.
Oh, that's weird.
You're a member of the Matrix.
So if you come to a TI, you process your TI, it feels. I'm imagining it would feel as though it's objective.
It does feel objective, yes. Yeah.
But like everyone thinks it.
No, not objective in terms of everyone thinks it. Objective in terms of it's right and everyone should think it.
Well, but I'm saying for extroverted feeling first person, they're
Mhm.
going to operate as
Oh,
if
you
everyone
think
thinks
maybe
it. Yeah,
everyone
because
thinks
they're not
Yeah.
actually like they don't have enough built up TI to be able to
maybe
actually
I
have
don't.
that.
That's a good
This is
guess.
just-
Yeah.
This is just my, and interpreting it through my experience of demon thing.
So Kim joined and Jason joined. Kim, do you have a story you want to share about Dianna or something?
It's not like I remember specifics. I never got to meet her in person, unfortunately, but the thing that I remember the most engaging with her online was how infectious her energy was, how bubbly she was, how like we would just play energy, just bonk, 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 bonk.
Yeah.
like, for an hour, and be some of the most engaging conversations I've ever had. And talking to another EJ was really awesome, just because at that point there were fewer typed EJs, so it was like really nice to talk to somebody that was, hey, cool, like you get it.
Right.
What's your identity? I don't know. And all that. But it was really, she's one of the few people that helped me appreciate and understand what Effie's doing. I'm not the best at conversations like this,
No,
but
you're doing well. You're doing well, Kim. Thank you. I appreciate it.
but when I got the news, I didn't really hit me right away because things usually don't. But I was just like,
Yeah. You have the
oh
shock.
no.
You always
Yeah,
have
I'm
that
like,
shock reaction,
oh
the
no.
disbelief, the denial.
Yeah. I was like, oh no. And then it hit yesterday when I, seeing it on Facebook and the announcement of a remembrance tomorrow. And then I didn't actually cry until last night on the phone when I told my boyfriend, and I cried for like 5 minutes just because then it finally hit me. I'm like, oh God, like, yeah, this is real.
Yeah.
And there's like nothing you can't change it, you can't fix it. And so it was in the sense of I was fighting my own wiring of maybe I could have done something differently, maybe I could have taught more. It's like, no, like you can't go down that rabbit hole just because it's like at the end, at that point, nothing you could have done would have changed the outcome. Like, this is a thing that is unfortunate and also faultless.
Yeah. And I think it came as a shock to a lot of people because of the way she comes off as well, because of
Yes.
how happy she seems, and no one really knew what was really going on. Mhm. Yeah.
One of the happy memories of Diana is that I think this is across all FE savers, especially FE EJs, is they feel really misunderstood because every FI is bitching about how FE is making them feel a certain way, and I feel like they always feel the need to always like, no, I don't
Defend
do that.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the funny things is that she was processing her relationship on voice chat, and I was like, oh, well, Oprah had some TI rule on herself that she wouldn't discuss her relationships online.
Oh
And
God.
she's
All right.
like the FE rule. And she's like, and then she started processing why would anyone process their relationship on voice chat or not, if they should share their relationship, not. Like, that was really funny. And I
I think Gary Vee
like,
has something similar too. That yeah.
yes, yeah. Gary also wouldn't discuss his relationship.
Right.
All the FEs watching this, like, I am sorry for all the times I bitched about FE, about how it's annoying. It's not annoying, like, it's the FI bitchiness. Like, I'm sorry for my partake in this. um, but yeah, other than that, like, as Kim said, Diana was always very like cheerful, and whenever I would text her, she would respond immediately, and she would always be there for me whenever I needed her, and I wish I could be there for her too. Um, yeah, I am really sorry for what
Yeah.
happened. Yeah,
I remember like being in shock and then immediately just feeling angry.
I felt
Yep.
angry directly.
Yeah. I felt angry of like not at her, but more so like I wish she got to see how loved and valued and appreciated she was by everyone.
Yeah.
Like, as much
I
value as she put into other people, I wish she felt that way toward herself. And I felt angry. I felt angry at that, and it's I still feel angry at that. Like, I wish she was still here, but there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. I don't know if she needed that from people.
Right.
She was definitely someone who wanted to give energy and give joy, and just the fact that she could see the joy on the other person's face for her was validation enough. Yeah. You got some good validation here, Kim. How about you, Jason? Do you have something to share?
Yeah. I spoke with Dianna.
Give me a second. Let me just turn your volume up.
Oh,
Apparently I can do this. Yeah, here we go. Just put you up.
yeah.
Okay, let's try now.
Dianna, when I first joined the community, and yeah, she was always a kind soul and just so enthusiastic. Oh my goodness. Like the emotions haven't hit me and they won't hit me for quite a while. But for the moment, I still just remember her as like just such an excited person, and she was so happy all the time. And I don't know, like I joined the VC and she'd join in, like when she was with her ex-husband, and she'd be on the call and like, hey, hi, and she's doing her makeup and she's doing a sales call, or she's got like one of the kids in the car, and she's just like having a great time, and she just always seemed like smiling and happy. And yeah, Deanna and I talked quite a bunch, and
Yeah,
she
you
told me
guys did. Yeah.
yeah, she told me quite a lot of her life story and all the different things that she was getting up to. And yeah, we shared quite a lot with each other, and we were pretty good friends. And yeah, it's just it's quite shocking that this would happen, because you know, even though she was blast last, when she did have trouble, she did reach out. She often did reach out, and so
She
would
often
have
regretted it though. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. I heard the stories. Yeah.
yeah, oh goodness. But yeah, she would reach out, and yeah, it's just sad that this happened. It's just really sad. But yeah, it seemed like that was the choice she wanted to make. Goodness. Which is just unfortunate.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, no, she was definitely at peace with her choice and very accepting of it. Not afraid, not very all in. Very all in. And I don't want to say too much about how she did it here, but she had very well planned it out, and very nice little touches that, like, it sounds sick to talk about it this way, but you could see her personality and in all of the little touches she put on the method. Yeah. And how much she cared about others. And because like me, I wouldn't have cared about any of that stuff. Like, screw the tribe, who cares about them? Yeah. No, but her, it was the tribe first. Yeah.
tribe above self to the end.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unusual.
Great, Catherine.
Ooh, feelings.
Yeah.
This feels more normal to me. Last time I came on your panel, it felt super harsh and thinky.
Yeah. Maybe we can try to answer this that Catherine pointed out earlier. Let me see where it was. Something about if I sleep to Sadet. Remembering the pain. Remembering the pain.
I think it can be, yeah, it's probably sleep, like going over it again and again and getting more angry, more range, more like that bitterness is just growing the more you think about it. So I think that can be
Okay.
sleep.
Yeah.
and not being able to resolve it, because like if you have like some sort of like maybe OE, like different perspective, or try to reframe it differently, but when I go back, right?
Oh, you're the technology, the skipping.
No, it
Yeah.
comes back to me. Oh yeah, it's not happening anymore.
Yeah, I was going to point that out. I was assuming that's what it was, that Catherine is not good at holding grudges, I guess, is what you're trying to say.
Mm,
And your
yeah.
sleep lasts. So maybe she's wondering if it's the sleep that helps you hold the grudge.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. I'm not trying to hold it. It's just holding me. You know, I'm
It's just,
trying to let
it's
go
holding
of it.
you. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the more you try to let go and process it, the more it holds you.
Yeah, I'm like trying to like forgive, especially the people, or like what I'm trying to not let what has happened to me define me. But it's really hard, you know, even in the like there are some instances happened in like when I was in high school or elementary school that I still feel very angry about. I'm like, come on, let go. But yeah.
Yeah.
But when you have the principle of not hold on to bitterness, but when you naturally hold on to bitterness, it's just like you're going against yourself in a way. Because I feel like naturally I want to hold on to the bitterness, but
Yeah.
consciously I'm trying to let go of it. It's a battle within me.
So one of the things I was seeing with Deanna, how the tribe was processing her, a lot of people had a hard time processing what happened. And it was a lot easier for them to just put a label on it, say, oh, it was depression, or oh, it was this. And I mean, I get why you would do that, and it's a lot easier to process, but it's not, for me personally, I wouldn't just slap that label and call that a day. It's, I really wanted to get to the bottom of what was happening. And I don't think that was, I don't think she had any, like, she had her own mental issues aside from that, but I don't think you can blame what happened on a mental issue. It was a situation, a circumstance, it was a decision, it was processed. It wasn't, yeah. It wasn't someone just losing their mind.
Yeah, it was coldly thought through.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Yeah. She was very reckless at times, but this was, yeah.
Mhm. I mean, reckless is is from the outside, it's easy to see certain actions as reckless. But when the person on the inside is making the decisions, it can make sense to them. Just to the outside world, it can look reckless. So it's hard
Yeah.
to say if it's reckless. Maybe you could say it was some of her decisions were reckless, but they made sense to her.
Yeah. So on the depression thing, like, I know people who do this kind of thing because of depression. It's because, okay, there's too much sadness. They can't cope with the sadness anymore. They can't cope with the feelings. She was always expressing that she was numb at the end. She couldn't move her feelings anymore.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It wasn't a depression. It was, yeah.
But like with depression, you can also get into that feeling of numbness and nothing
Yeah.
moves you anymore. But like again, there are ways to cope with that, and I feel like coming to conclusion of ending your life is like goes against everything, against like every single cell in your body is telling you against it, and you're consciously deciding that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the sleep processing on the suicide, so I am having like hard time processing Diana's passing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't notice any significant change in her behavior, but since I've known her, right, people have definitely noticed changes since they've known her, since before her, like her 20-year-old friends have noticed changes, and a lot of it came from OP and not being able to communicate with her anymore because of OP.
What do you mean because of OP?
Because she couldn't speak outside of that language, and no one could communicate with her anymore from her old life.
That is weird because I feel like,
Well, they could on the light, the FE side, but whenever she wanted to actually process things with people, then yeah, no. Yeah. Hey, Sheila. So Sheila was on a team with Deanna for 2 years now, something like that. They work together. Yeah, good friends. She really appreciated you. She loved you, and she knew that you really liked the group too. I'm really sorry for your loss, Sheila. Yeah.
like there was a quote, and I'm going to misquote it, but there are like two bad things that can happen to a human, and the first is that not getting what you want, and the second thing is getting what you want, and you have to deal with both of them. And in this scenario, it looks like the first one, like not getting what you want.
Well, in the end, she got what she wanted too, and that was a bad thing.
Yeah, bad thing for the rest of us.
The rest of
But
us, yeah.
but like, sometimes I feel like this happens to everyone, that we hyper focus on one thing, and that thing grows and grows and grows and becomes our whole life. Like, I know there are students, especially in East Asian countries, who commit suicide because their studies are like the studies and the grades became their whole life, and when they cannot get
Yeah.
certain grades, when they're not successful, they just decide to take their lives. And when you think of the grand scheme of things, that is such a small thing of what you get from exam, but because that's their full focus is on that small number, they decide that they cannot take it anymore, that it is a huge shame for their family. And
Yeah, she had her own way of understanding the terms as well, which
Yeah.
isolated her not only from also from OP community. Yeah. I don't know if I said this already in the stream. I've said this a few times because I just keep remembering it. It's a little story where she was trying to get her second divorce, and so I was on the phone with her trying to be supportive, and she's at the divorce office, and I hear her. She goes up to the lady at the front with the form. She says, "Can I get another form? I accidentally drew flowers all over mine." Like, on your divorce form.
That's a good story.
Yeah, I had a good laugh at that.
That's endearing.
Only Dianna
Also,
could
accidentally.
draw flowers.
How do you accidentally draw flowers on a divorce form?
I'm trying to think, like, too, what the flowers looked like. Was it just a single flower? Was it like a bouquet?
Can't help you
Whole
there.
page.
Gave it
Yeah,
back.
it was.
Maybe
like a
she was
giant
trying to think
sunflower.
of the questions and how to answer them, and she was just like drawing flowers as she was thinking, and she's like, "Wait, I have whole flowers on my paper."
Maybe there was a message or a passage about a garden in an agreement, and then it's like, oh, flowers.
Hmm. And she did think deeply about people. She did process people very deeply. I don't know if this is strange for EJs, because I always had the assumption that EJs don't really process people that deeply. They process a lot of people very shallowly. But she was looking at their futures and all of, I don't know, especially if they were important to her. Yeah.
I feel like the couple of my close EJ friends, they do process people really deeply, and sometimes I feel like from like double-decided point of view, they do read their behaviors too deeply, and then they like misinterpret it from my point of view, because they're just like looking so like um from isolated point of view.
Yeah, you don't care about us, eh, Anna? You don't process any people deeply. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, people are useful
They're
tools.
useful. They're tools.
Useful tools.
I'll be honest. I don't. Yeah, that's diverging right there.
I see Kim smiling but not disagreeing.
I process there's very specific people I process very deeply. Other than that,
Right.
not really.
Yeah, with friends in the social. that
Yeah,
must
yeah,
be-
yeah. Yeah, you have to make it
Well,
in a certain type of social sphere for me to process very deeply, but when I do, it's kind of like there's no jumping off point. It's just
Yes.
I'm all the way in.
The thing is, you guys say that you don't process people deeply, but the moment that EJ start ranting about people, you know that they have processed them deeply, you know?
more of like how are they not
Like
submitting
you.
to my request? Yeah, or doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong, but not like oh, I actually really care about you. I don't know. I wish I did. I hear all of this, and a lot of people are, and I'm just like, wow, that is a world away. Yeah, like how can I talk to someone as little as possible to get maximally what I want out of them?
Yeah.
I mean, play last.
I love ST Play Last.
Maximum usage, like neighbors, these kind of people who are in your peripherals in life that you always have to keep up with, or your kids' friends' parents, or they are useful to me because if my kid like loses their backpack, I need to contact that person, but that's it.
They're not in your FI. Yeah.
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 Mhm.
I mean, I guess Dave was saying that everyone needs to process this kind of thing at some point. And it's a deep thing in philosophy too, is if you don't figure out what you live for, then you're not really living.
Hmm.
So I don't know, has everybody also processed this for themselves to some degree, or too scared to do it, or?
I've been processing this, but not from like suicide point of view, but more from like what is going to be my life game is, like because um like what is going to be the like I was referring to like the hyper focus thing, because I don't want it to have to having kids or own like having money or owning properties or those type of things. I was thinking I should have some sort of game for myself where I can like focus that would give me meaning, so like I would both enjoy it and be useful to society, but also that's where I would like grade myself in, you know. So like if I don't consciously choose what that game is, it's going to be chosen for me, and I will have to play by someone else's rules, if that makes any sense.
So what is your game?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to share this because
Okay,
if
you
I
don't have to. Yeah.
no, if I share, like I am not 100%
You're not sharing it with
sure.
real people. We're just OP people. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, you guys don't exist. But if I share that now, I will be kept accountable for that. Like 10 years later, you can
Yeah,
come and say like, okay, this is your game plan. Like, how are you doing?
yeah, we'll
And
be on your ass now. We won't forget
yeah,
it.
if you
Yeah, of course, that's exactly what's gonna happen. How about you say what it is currently, but it might change.
I don't think it will change, but
Never mind. I tried to give you an out. I'm trying to what do you call it? Do the chat GPT thing where like you can trick it to give you the answer that you want. Yeah.
Okay, for now, I do think it might be polyglottism, like learning as many languages as I can, I possibly acquire. And I think that is like both very challenging and also very rewarding. Also, I was thinking about maybe staying in university till the day I die, like just being student, never working. But like, I think that's a cop out. So I decided not to do that. But I think learning as many languages as I possibly can in this lifetime can be a good game for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You speak Russian? Is that what this is?
Klasna, lublю. No, I was going to read it.
Are you gonna read it? You can read Russian? Okay.
Yeah, lublю учить языки.
Was
It's
very
like I
good.
love many languages. I learned how to read Russian. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely she was a presence. We got a lot. I was wanted to talk about that too, is like people who are so giving like that, we miss them a lot more because they're giving us a lot more. We're taking advantage of them. We're taking advantage of what they're giving, all that energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you only realize how much they're giving to you only when you lose them, like after they're gone.
Yeah.
Not when they're present. And yeah. Oh, you're going to make me read this as well?
No, it's just for Anna.
Oh no, you don't need to highlight that for me.
Okay.
I don't know what Sarscom means, but anyway.
Let's go.
The last one. Sarscom. What does it mean?
I don't know if he actually knows what he wrote or he just used translate.
No, this is slang.
Oh, it's slang.
I don't think
Okay.
that. Yeah,
I
I don't think that it would translate that contextually. Yeah.
Do you speak Russian, Benjamin?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. My grandmother did.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Like you seem that you understood it.
No. I seem like it.
No.
You understood it. Okay.
Do you guys is this one of the first, I guess this is the second one in the community, but did you have a lot of losses in the past? Hey, Hank.
Hey, Benjamin.
Have you guys had to process a lot of loss? Yeah. In the past?
I think I'm a bit young for this question.
A bit young for this?
Yeah. This year alone, I've almost lost 4 people.
No.
Is that how you strategy? Is that how you do a strategy to not answer the question? You just leave the call, and then you just Anna.
Come back, you
you
got
lost.
talk.
I'm sorry. She's back. I'm sorry you lost 4 people, Kim,
Almost. It was almost a fourth, but
including Deanna.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the third,
That's right.
but it almost would have been a fourth. So in a sense, it's like I'm kind of, I don't know if it's messed up to say used to it, but used to it. This, I've never dealt with the finality of suicide before. I've dealt with people that have been
Struggled
on
with
the
it.
brink of it, struggled
Yeah.
with it, or been on the brink of it. But I've never dealt with an experience where it was like completed. So yeah, it was a shock, and that's a first. But I feel like I've been dealing with it relatively okay, just because I'm like of it's an unfortunate part of life, but it's just like a. I'm not trying to sound insensitive. I'm just like having difficulty wording. Like it happened, and there's nothing I can do to change it. It doesn't make it any less unfortunate.
Hmm.
But I just have learned to kind of accept it for what it is. Talk about it, which is what I love about this so much because we're all getting to express how we feel about it, sharing our experiences, which is helpful because I think bottling it to myself would have been the worst thing.
Well, that's a EJ thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like bottling it to myself, keeping my feelings to myself would have been the worst thing. So I'm very grateful and appreciative that you've taken time out of your day to host this and for everyone coming on here, both on stream and in the comments. Like it definitely helps knowing that I'm not going through this alone. But yeah, it's just, taking it a day at a time, I guess.
Yeah.
Big time. Bottling is a big problem.
Mhm.
We're trying to save face all the time. Even now, I'm just like, guys, come on. Positive emotions only, please.
Do
Yeah.
you guys, I mean, I want to ask this especially to Claire because to see the difference between maybe NI and SI sleep. Did you process death of the people that you love beforehand? Like, have you ever done it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like,
Very, very
especially
important to me.
close. Mm-hmm.
Very important. Like, I lost actually, last October. Oh wow, it feels like it was longer ago. I lost my grandfather, but he was sick for a very long time, so it was part of it was a relief because he's finally not suffering anymore. But I also lost someone I know at the beginning of this year, and that made me really angry.
Mm-hmm.
That one, I guess the nature of it. Whereas my grandfather was very emotional one where, but I really felt like after he passed that the family, everyone around, sort of took on his spirit in a way. I
Mm-hmm.
felt very like he was like a part of us, and so that was a good experience. But my friend that passed recently, it was a situation I think that I don't actually know the details, but it wouldn't have happened if they weren't. I see. I don't know the details, but yeah, I remember both when my grandfather passed, I would like every day I would drink what's it called, sambuca,
Mm-hmm.
and eat cheese, and it would remind me of him. And then when my friend passed, I would buy a pack of cigarettes, and when I smoked, it would I would think back to when I would smoke with them and like comforting them when them talking about the,
Reminiscing.
yeah, but also like just death in general is to process is very, very important to me. And I've thought a lot about my own suicidal experiences and like the whole thing.
I was mostly trying to ask, like, if you process death of other people before it has happened, because it will happen.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see it that way. Yeah, I do. I
You
sometimes
do?
I write eulogies for people who are alive. Yeah.
Mm. I
Did you show
heard
it to
this.
them?
No, it's more like just a daydream, not as much like a project where I actually write it down. Yeah.
I think they've also talked about this where he would like actively cry for like people that he loves very dearly and
Yeah.
before they pass. Like I remember, I don't know if this is like normal for a kid, but when I was like 9 and 10, I would cry like almost every night about my dad and mom passing. It's not that because I cried those times when I was a kid, if they pass now, I will not cry. That doesn't mean that, but the fact that they will pass is like it is just going to happen
Yeah.
one day, whether I experience it or not.
You won't be completely unprocessed when it happens.
Exactly, probably, yeah.
It's interesting. My daughter, who's 5, she's going through that right now.
Hmm.
Trying to understand what is death. She starts asking, when will I die? Are you going to die? Am I going to die? How do we die? What does that look like? All this
Yeah.
stuff. And
How old is she?
she's 5.
5. Yeah, now she's as a concept trying to understand death.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a million approaches to this conversation, which is dependent on worldview and all sorts of things. But it was interesting to reflect just how ST to death I beat that answer into her with a very like straightforward. You know how you've eaten an apple and it gets rotten? Well, that's what happens to your body when you put it into the ground. And I just
Oh my God.
Yeah, I have a
straight
pretty
into
simple
that.
explanation for death. Pretty much your parts get recycled. Your parts get recycled. The system doesn't function properly. Your parts get recycled.
Yes, and it was just interesting to see her reaction to that reality. And of course, you know, you see insects die, you see plants die, like everything must die, without scaring her to live, because you don't want her to be fearful of, you know, I didn't say like, oh, you could die tomorrow. You could, but I don't want to get to
You can
that
die right
level.
now if you don't keep following my instructions.
I'm teaching you how to live as a little person.
Is that your
right?
parenting tactic, Anna?
Seems to be. Whoops. So it is interesting going through that with her. She did a lot of crying, a lot of processing, very like attached, didn't want me to leave. And
Mm.
of course, this all happened while we were at Disneyland. And I'm just like, you're literally at the happiest place on earth. And you're just crying your heart out about how someday we will die. And I'm like, could you have like moved this little transition to another time, please?
Sounds
The
like
most
a
magical conversation on earth.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wait, how old was this person? How old?
Just 5, just a kid.
Oh my god. Oh wow, yeah. You see, I remember like do you all remember 2012?
Yes.
Like the end of the world thing? The day, like on the night, the eve of it, I was sitting I was about to go to bed, and I was like, you know, the way that I've heard of this stuff, there's a good chance I won't wake up tomorrow. Huh? I'll be gone, and then I will know. There's nothing I can do about that. I guess I'll die. I literally just like processed my own death at like the age of 10 because of this observer freak out. Oh my god.
Yeah, I wasn't worried
I
about
know
the
how it
2012 thing.
feels.
It wasn't an observer thing for me. It's just-
Neither was I.
yeah,
Oh my, as a kid, well,
observers are weird. What are you processing? The world's going to end because it's 2012 and that's what some calendar said?
yeah. And it didn't help that
They
my
just buy
dad
the new
was a
calendar.
conspiracy theorist either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like,
Yeah, but first off, just can't just buy the new calendar. That's what I do every year. And I usually wait a couple months.
New calendar.
but like, well, I mean, to kind of share my experience with it, it was something that I was processing ever since like maybe 3-4 years before the event. Like every time I close my eyes in the shower, I get like this horrific vision of 2012. I'm sorry. I damn it, I turned it into a me story again.
No.
It's okay. That's what
Yeah.
energy doms do. You're good.
You know, I just saying that I'm processing not doing that is another me story, so I'm just gonna shut up.
No, it's okay.
You're good, Nico. But yeah, it
feel that.
sounds like whatever state that NI is, possibly demon NI. Just having that, I don't know. Do you get that shit at like the instant vision of doom and gloom catastrophe in the middle of a shower, closing your eyes?
It happens, but it happens so often that it's not really shocking to
Yeah.
me.
It's not shocking for you, yeah.
Yeah.
This was like when I was 5. Now it doesn't happen anymore.
It happens to me every like year. Maybe I'll get into a any spiral, demon any spiral of like anything could happen. It's not a specific thing. It's just that anything could happen. And so yeah, or if someone like loops you into some kind of doom scenario, you get linked in there and it continues. And so, you know, like when someone pulls in the aliens or World War III or whatever, and then I'm like, okay, my brain just continues whatever that started. So
I got you. I mean, one of the things I've been processing is I shouldn't be afraid of forces I can't control. And that's helped me quite a bit. Maybe it'll help you guys. I'm not absolutely sure. And I turned it into a me story. I'm sorry.
You're good.
It's the horror of being self-conscious is what I'm going through.
Are you having a me story about having me stories?
Yes. I'm like processing my processing. I'm thinking about thinking.
Meta processing. Yeah.
That's meta.
That's pretty slow.
I've processed it's to the point where say in the shaving video, you know, that I'm gonna send in July, I'm processing that I'm processing me telling them that I've been processing that for a year, that I've been simulating this entire thing for a year, and then I simulate me telling them that I'm doing the simulation.
Yeah.
Well, based on processing power, if you ask me.
I relate
Just do
to
the thing.
It's like I'll rehearse the entire thing.
Yeah.
And I'll be thinking like the same thing over and over in my mind. And honestly, It kind of sucks. But I do it habitually, and it makes me feel safe.
I don't understand how it makes you feel safe.
Because I just do it. Like, for me, naturally, reality fucking sucks. I hate it. I want to punch it and like destroy it. And my everything that goes on subjectively.
I was thinking you were a
makes me
sweetheart, and
feel
why would you be in anger management? But now I see. Okay.
Hey, look, I'm a sweetheart to anything until it pisses me off.
I see.
You know, like, you know, people, things, whatever. It's mostly things, but people can get under my skin too sometimes.
Yeah, so I can support destroying reality, but I don't know why we want to simulate it too, if I don't need to.
Well, I just do. It just happens. It's just an automatic process. I mean, one of the things that I realized early on, and like not early on into the personality game, is that whatever my savior is, it's my imagination, and whatever that is actively ruining my school, my life, all of that. Like that's in like it's because I'm just like doing it so constantly, and I'm simulating telling David Shan or whatnot in the video that I'm doing that constantly. So it becomes a spiral of infinite recursion without even realizing it. Like like for instance, I was like in the shower or whatnot. Like this is a good, you know, SE example.
Why would you do
of,
that to me?
Why would I
Does
do
that all the
that?
time. It's okay.
Well,
No,
why
it
do
was
I
on
do
the
that?
screen.
I just
Oh,
do
I'm
it. It gives
muted.
me comfort.
Yeah.
No, I was
Um,
talking to David.
But like, okay, so I was in the shower and I was thinking of using I was thinking of how OPS would affect me, you know, 20 years down the line with my child, and that once I think I'd be able to nudge them in the right direction for their type, and then I caught myself doing that of like, hey, what kind of crack are you smoking? What kind of crack are you smoking, dude? What, like, do you not see yourself? Do you not see yourself doing this? And it's like, and that hit me like a truck of like, oh God, I always do that. And the seeing myself thing comes from the same context as as what I'm doing. So it's another scenario of me seeing myself. It's so weird, man. It's like,
I don't think it is
'cause
seeing yourself. It's just recognizing your thinking.
it's like, I mean, I suppose so, but it's like it's catching my automatic processing, giving me self-awareness.
No,
And
you recognize what you're thinking in the moment that you're thinking that, and you're like, why am I thinking this thing? And blah, blah,
you know,
blah.
it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, why am I thinking this? Oh, well, why is because of this, this, and this. Okay, well, then that leads back to, you know, more stuff and even more stuff until I go full circle.
When you're in that mode, try writing it down. It helps calming your brain down.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
I do that
kind
too.
of related. Kind of related. I tried to describe what it was like, and it was like one of those the Russian doll things. Of, you know, like the Russian dolls where they have the thing and they just like
Yeah,
make more of
Matryoshka.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that. And it was like, it the only way that I could catch myself is by going into another doll, if like another one. So
Yeah,
it
we
had
could
so
show
many
it.
layers.
It's called like a recursion programming, and then you may be stuck in an infinite loop. I don't know, but you could literally just show the source
it's
code for that.
it is a black hole. I mean, it is a singularity. Essentially, all patterns of thought, all things lead to this one thing. And that's
At
like,
least they'll terminate. At least that process terminates eventually.
I mean, you know, hopefully it'll, you know, stop at some point so I can actually start living
What the hell? I
despite
didn't
how
write that.
much I
David, don't write in my name.
I
did you
don't.
do?
How do I not?
You can't write in my
What?
name.
Why am I Benjamin's
Use your own account.
That's awkward.
Yeah, log out, David, and use your own account.
1 second.
What?
Check.
there's too much going on.
How did he get
I
into
disagree.
your
It's not
account?
enough going
Vinay?
on.
Okay. So,
What?
okay.
Dave,
It's
stop
not
writing
enough
things.
going on. I disagree.
What do you keep writing things, Dave?
Okay, but
Look at this. Aha!
Free cloning himself now.
Oh shit!
Get rid of the other one. Here you go.
No, that was the bad one. That was my account, I think.
That was the bad
They
news.
did rip both of them.
All right, let's test it. Let's test it.
ah man,
See, yeah, you.
No,
God,
that's
you
not
know.
me.
Benjamin, is David in the same room as you?
No, he's not.
Oh.
I gave him administrator access to the stream. Now he can write in my name. All right.
I was gonna say, hit one of them if you was.
Mm.
I joined
Living
this
a lane.
like call, and it's like all this cool, and then all of you started talking at once, and I started to be in physical pain.
I did that wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I'm figuring this out.
It was on the screen, that's why.
Well, this is like my third panel today, so I don't get whatever he has. I don't have.
What?
Whatever the fire one has, I don't have. This is like my third panel today. I was on the machine lies, then I was on flow state, and this
He's
is my
saying
third one.
he can do 3 panels and doesn't experience that.
Oh well.
Yeah, and they
it's-
call me an
it's-
autist. The shrinks call me an autist, so whatever.
Oh, I am diagnosed. I have diagnosed autism. That comes from sensory processing syndrome. It's essentially all stimuli hits me way too hard, and it makes me like freak the fuck out, like I'm Venom. Whenever the sounds like start playing, and he starts going into a rage and smashing the thing.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Of just like if too much is going on, I'm just
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just like in agony.
Yeah, I train my physical body up, so it doesn't really bother me. And I do have some sadomasochistic tendencies now, but I think it's a low price to pay.
Bruh. I mean, yeah, I mean, I've certainly tried to like go into parties or whatnot, and like socialize and whatnot. The issue is just like there's too much. It's not even the people; it's just like too much, like insanity, and it drives me away.
Hank, do you know your type? OP type?
I don't know my OP type. I was hoping being on these panels will help people figure out my type. I have probably like hundreds of hours on it, but no one really bit. So I'm pretty sure I'm one of those types that aren't common because people can't agree onto one type. So for MBTI, it's probably an INTJ because the ENTJ is like easier to recognize, but we're still confused. So it's probably INTJ.
The thing is, even the most common types, people cannot agree on the type, so that is not a good thing to go off of.
Yeah, but at least they're more consistent when it's between only a couple types. But not, I was on Hosteric about 6 months ago, and he was barely hitting the same quadro I was actually sure was in. So
Still, I would say
I
don't.
wouldn't use him as a metric either. He
Yeah.
got me as an ISFP.
Huh.
Yeah.
You know, I got typed as a INFP in one of the Discord servers, and the way he described it was like so generic. I'm just like, oh my god, oh god. So much of the stuff is just scuffed. Like they can't they give you just like a shotgun of stuff, and it's just.
Would you like to hear my shotgun of stuff, the fiery one?
His name, you can call him Nico if you need.
Okay, Nico.
I mean, sure. I would like to kind of speak on one more process, like real quick, if that's all right.
Real
No,
quick,
can I blast?
I think I heard enough to keep.
Oh,
to
okay.
start my
I'm sorry.
shotgun.
we maybe
I
save
do
it for the
think
next
you were-
stream.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. Which one are you telling that to?
So everyone,
Wait, hold
say
on.
the thing. Say the thing.
Yeah.
We'll wait for say.
Oh, okay. I ended up yesterday I ended up like writing I had like a realization after watching this video about black holes, and so I wrote out this entire description of like feminine NI and like why they say what they say or why they do what they do.
You having fun, Anna? Having fun.
And
self-amusing with your little FI there.
and like I ended up writing like this whole thing, and like essentially it was feminine NI is like no matter what gets in the way, it'll kind of like wiggle around that like a river in a stream or a black hole, in which the black hole, once you're inside the event horizon, you can go everywhere, but your future is that singularity. No matter where you go, you will always go to that one future. So essentially, whatever sensor blocks you try and bang and whatnot, it's just going to flow into that singularity. And thinking about it, I'm like, okay, well, using this concept of a black hole, that applies to this concept of Dave's buckets or wheelbarrows or other BS principles or whatnot. And I'm like, oh my god, it's because all things lead back to the same thing subconsciously, or like the same three things or whatnot. It's just like a flow.
Yeah.
Well, no, because you're misusing that concept. Singularities is a hole in the math. It's where your model breaks down. Maybe you can use the horizon, the event horizon, but we don't agree on what that is yet.
Well, it's based off of the current theory. I'm not. Okay, look, I don't care about the sensor definition right now. I'm gonna be real with you. Like, okay, I don't actually know what the fuck is going on inside of a black hole, but based off of what I did see and the concept that I do understand, it's like, okay, well, what you might call it, words not forming, fucking.
But don't believe all the pop signs you see.
Okay, it was based off of this Veritasium video. There you go. There's some sensor. You can go watch that.
All right.
But
so before you joined, Nico, we had a bit of a topic going on. And maybe we can start involving other people because it's a panel with many people here.
I'm so fuck, dude.
So good.
Okay, I'll get to the point.
This one has this panel has a theme. All right.
So
shit.
the
Okay,
way this works best is if you can like ping to someone else and then they'll ping to you, but we'll be afraid to ping to you now because we'll know
Mhm.
you're a black hole.
Well, I'm not afraid.
Singularity.
Oh, yeah. There's this.
Like,
Oh my
You
god,
gotta play popcorn, and you're the burnt piece of
memes are
popcorn.
such good
There you go.
cultural reference. Oh my. Okay.
But it's okay. We were
Okay.
kind of
We still like you.
The agony of self consciousness is just hitting me.
Yeah, so see, that's why don't take psychology seriously. They group me and the fireman in the same group, and we're not alike at all. Whatever, it doesn't make any sense.
you and who?
Me.
Well, they labeled me and the fireman autist. I'm not similar to him at all. I can actually process stuff. So
Yeah.
it doesn't
What?
make sense that we're put in the same bucket. It's hilarious. So that's why I can't take psychology seriously right now.
But that's
I'm
just
gonna
one
be-
thing. You have to factor out so many different things. So there is something similar between you two, but it's not. You're finding
Yeah, our names. There's fire references in both of them.
There you
No,
go.
it's really hard to figure out exactly what autism actually is, and then only look at that and then see how it's the same.
And that's the problem. They needed to find their words better.
Yeah,
I
but-
did a deep dive on
Oh.
autism and figured out a conclusion at some point. If
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's right, but basically it was just that.
Rose, say
Yeah.
hi.
So basically, it was just that not enough processing power and too much to process, and then you get overwhelmed, and that happens to everybody. But someone with autism, that would happen on a constant basis.
Yeah.
And so
And
some people have really low processing power, and so just a normal amount to process leads to autism. And then some people have high processing power, but way too much to process, and that also leads to autism. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a
Okay.
difficulty with inputting and outputting information at the same time. It's either you do an excess amount of input, not enough output, or an excess amount of output and a minimal amount of input. At least that's the way I think it's if I'm understanding that correctly.
How
That
can you
sounds
date
like energy bomb.
ADHD?
She's dating a concept.
Dating a black hole.
Actually, Bill Gates would say yes.
Man, whenever you said define your definitions, I posted that, and one of them said, "Could you clarify this, please?"
Define your definitions. Can you clarify them?
Clarify a concept. I want you to clarify the abstract into sensor. Go on.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to get a book recommendation because that really help me. I'm gonna get Bill Gates' book. What call it? The rope hypothesis. He's good at giving examples of how to define and point to things. So sometimes you can't define the thing because it's an object, so you just point to it. What's it called? Marker. So you can't define. You can't. It's easier just to me to just point the thing than to define it because it's an object.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the link.
Benjamin, I think Hank and Nico came late though, so they don't know what that you dedicated
I'm
this
sorry.
to.
Yeah, no. In general, we lost somebody a week ago. She took her own life, and we were just sort of trying to share stories and process about. But it's okay. We got derailed. That's okay. We're a hangout. We're not here for like any specific topic. We're here to hang out. But yeah, that's really that was what we were sort of trying to dedicate this to. I can bring it back a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe we can talk a bit about addiction because I know Deanna really struggled with addiction, and at the end she stopped smoking weed. She stopped her alcohol. She stopped consuming. She stopped the devices. She really got on top of all of that. She saw how bad it was for her, and yeah, too late, but it was, yeah, she really got on top of it. So I don't know. The consume, she always needed something to
Numb
do.
herself.
Yeah, no, I don't know, numb herself, but something to ingest, something to, yeah. I don't know if non-consumers get these consume addictions too.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can empathize with her a lot. I can relate.
Yeah.
I feel, you know, I'm glad she stopped. Wow, you know,
Yeah.
like, okay, here's me trying to ping. What did she like? What motivated her to stop?
She ended up in a very undesirable place in her life, and she just wanted to make sure that everything that might have contributed to causing that was out of the equation. Yeah.
That is so abstract.
Yeah. So she was really. Was she doing any treatment?
No.
Like working with a therapist or anything, or was she calling the crisis hotline, or?
She was in a, I don't know if, did we talk about this? Yeah, we did. So she was in an like a institution. She called it a jail. When she got out, she's like, "I'm out of jail." I'm like, "What jail? What are you talking about? I didn't even know you were in jail." Oh yeah, I was on suicide watch. Yeah.
So she used the OP community as therapy.
I don't know.
Sorry, I don't mean to make some kind of suggestion. I'm just kind of saying she didn't otherwise do therapy.
No.
She was just talking to people.
She had so she had a therapist, and she was just got rid of it. Like she didn't like. I guess you need to really be able to connect to your therapist for that kind of thing.
Yes.
And that is such a like huge process sometimes, like trying to find a good therapist itself becomes the whole problem, and then you're like, I might as well just not go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have to go through a lot of people.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes like explaining yourself and expressing your own like thoughts and feelings and not being understood is worse, you know, or being misunderstood, like, oh, I wish I didn't come here. Oh, yeah, just
Yeah. Yeah, can you imagine being stuck in the typology language and trying to communicate to a therapist that has no idea what she's talking about?
Yes, that happened to me.
I don't have to imagine. I did it before, and I learned their language, and they still don't know what they're talking about in their own language because I read their material. So,
but you know, I was stuck in that typology language as well, and I was like, I should stop this because this hinders my ability to communicate with other people. So instead of saying like sleep processing, you just say processing.
Yeah.
Or instead of saying consuming, like, I mean, you can use consume in a sense, but
yeah, it's used. That's one of the reasons why they took that as a word. So yeah.
it'd be easier if there was a book or something.
He's so one of the things Hank has against OP is there's no book. You need a book.
So that ebook is just like there's no elaboration at all.
Is this something that SI needs? This book?
There's no elaboration.
SC needs it too, for reference.
For reference?
Yes, SC needs it too. So we don't talk past each other because that's the waste of time.
You know, I got into another typology recently, Hank, and interestingly enough, it has a book, and I read the book, and it was very good. Like I wish OPS had it as well, but in time, you can write it.
I mean, technically, I can write it. Well, maybe I can't write it because I don't understand it properly. So we don't know yet. That's the issue.
Well, you can write your own understanding of it, and other people can write their own understanding, and we can
People
come to
do.
conclusions.
That's one of the many things. There are many books in OP actually. If you want to look around,
Yeah.
they're probably not very good or just repetitions
But
of. Yeah.
yeah, but the thing is, like, we at certain point we will come to common understanding with the common any like framework. You know, that is the goal.
Yeah. Come on, David. What's going on? You got to get on that.
I'm not writing an OP book. I'm not gonna be.
You're not writing it.
Let's do it together. Yay.
That would take too long.
Well, somebody has to do it, Hank. So
Find some ISTP. They'll do it.
yeah, they're the
I don't
best
have the
side, so
any.
they might as well just prove themselves.
We don't even need to write a book. That's how.
I'll do that instead of writing an OP book. That's way easier.
Yeah, his taxes are actually really difficult because he has those businesses. He has like a couple of different businesses, and he may have some, and he has some of those what do you call it, doubloons, gold doubloons. So his taxes are difficult. I don't recommend them.
Can you tax gold doubloons? I guess they've got a value.
In the United States, probably.
Yeah.
IRS will just come and swipe them.
Oh, that's nice. The OP stuff exists, yeah. Well, that's kind of the thing. It should exist in other languages. Yeah, but in terms of use, so cannabis use for Deanna was very negative. For, I don't know, some people it's, I don't know if we can find a pattern there, but for some people, cannabis use can be positive, and for other people, it's very, very bad. And for her, it was one of those that it wasn't good. Everybody, all constant feedback was always, "Don't come around me when you're on cannabis. Don't do it. We don't like." Yeah.
So, like, she had a bad trip, or
No, it's just that her state on cannabis wasn't a productive state, wasn't a positive state.
probably made her feel pretty good, though. That's the track.
Probably, yeah, yeah. But it made her already even more talkative and more nonsense talkative, and
God.
yeah.
And then people wouldn't
But I don't know if there's if anyone's been tracking. Is it a type thing? Is it type related? That who cannabis is good for or not?
I have a very small SE
On that, yeah.
data set on that, and so far I didn't see any person who is like on the long term good with using cannabis. You know what I mean? Like in the long term, it all goes bad for some reason, even though at the beginning, like the person who's using it might get into like a good state of mind, maybe using it to process or just cope with certain things, but after a while it becomes something that they use it to escape life from life. Yeah, but I have like very small database, so like 5-6 people. I don't think that is enough to. And I
come
don't
on,
know.
it was enough for you, Sadet. Come on. It's hard to make a pattern with one, but I'm sure you could still do it.
What about Snoop Dogg? What about like Snoop Dogg?
What about Snoop
He's
Dogg?
He's like constantly doing it, and he seems fine enough, I suppose. Like
Yeah, I don't think
anomaly?
he's cohesive, and it's probably not. It's probably not horrible for that type.
That's a INFJ jumper.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's type related. Just because you're an INFJ doesn't mean, you know what I mean? Who knows?
I mean, I saw like there was like some note somewhere, I don't know, but there's like a correlation between masculine sensory observers and weed consumption.
Hi,
Like and like
Habib.
actually like
Hey, what's up?
Everybody knows Habib.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good considering, you know.
Yeah. Did you heard all the news and stuff?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Are
Yeah,
you
I've
processing it?
yeah, I'm going through the stages. I feel like, you know, I feel like I go through all of them and then end up back in the beginning. End up back in the
Yeah,
beginning. Yeah. No, it's yeah, she was a really special person.
yes.
And on some level, I think I can understand a little bit of, you know, what someone like that is going through. Especially like some of the things that were being described, I could say that there's something about personality that does describe some of it, which is kind of like the play first brain that is hard for a lot of people to relate to who are not play first. Because it's like we have no internal function to rely on.
Right.
No OI, no DI, nothing, you know, concrete
Yeah.
in
It's
that
like in
sense.
space, just going, but where? Yeah.
And even if you are intellectually aware of, hey, I need to resolve things in my DI and my OI, it just biologically never feels like the right answer because it's not your saviors. You're always running to your saviors, and it just yeah. And particularly with the Blast last version, it can feel very stuck. You know,
Yes.
you have sleep third. It's your job to figure it out. It's your job to figure out the sleep processing, and sometimes that doesn't work. It doesn't go well every time.
And another thing with that, Habib, your animal stack is like, even if you come to the conclusion, then you have to take action and act on it and take initiative with the blast. And when you don't get to it, you just loop with the play, consume, sleep, play, consume, sleep, play, consume, sleep, but never getting out of that loop with like using the blast.
Yeah, we definitely end up in that loop. It's it's not good. It's you can feel very stuck. You're in like quicksand and stuff, and it's you're negotiating to do anything but the blast. And even if you do it, like it's not guaranteed to go well. It's like it's not like it's like you hit the jackpot when you do your blast, but you get nothing. It's like, wait, I'm supposed to get paid out. So you're not guaranteed to get everything you want, even when you do the hardest thing for you. Because it can be, you know, too late. Or a number of other things, like you need to consistently do it. That's, you know,
And also
you don't want to
face
be
the
like a
consequences
one-hit
when you
wonder.
take to. I'm sorry, you go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, you don't want to be a one-hit wonder when it comes to like the blast last is like, oh, you put out a good, you know, a video, or you had a nice conversation, you made some revelation, you know, got some, you know, discovery, and then it's like, well, how do you consistently now integrate that into the system? And if you have OI or DI, you know, that's great to plug it into something introverted. But then if you're all freaking extrovert brain, it's like, I think it's at the very least, it's good to kind of like discuss how hard it can be for, you know, that type, for this animal stack. And just when you can't resolve the extroverted stuff.
Hi, Linda. Welcome.
Hello.
Again, Habib, with that your animal stack, like play, consume, sleep, last, as you said, like you do it once and then you're like, okay, now I did it once, but now you have to keep doing it. And that is like, that becomes the whole issue of like, oh no, just because you did it once, it's not going to resolve your problems. But I feel like with play, consume, sleep, they stay in one spot, even though their brain goes everywhere. And when they try to move to another stage in life, um, when it doesn't happen in the first round, they get very frustrated and they just run back to their old ways, which is like very introverted thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, you said it. That's very much how it is. Yeah, you know like a good amount of play, consume, sleeps, right? So
Yeah.
but you've described it well. I'm like, well, I don't feel like I need to change anything of what you said. So that's very well.
It is like interestingly one of the most introverted or one of the most blast last stuck types that I see, especially like especially like compared to other animal stacks. Even like my stack with the blast last but sleep first, it just sometimes can get into the same pattern, but not as much. At some point, I feel like if like with the FI or with the TI, the motivation stops or they're like, it doesn't make sense to them anymore. They stop and they're like, I have to do something about this. Whereas play, consume, sleep in the space. Yeah. Like how I visualize it is going into space without an anchor and without an endpoint. So they're just like in the space running, not running, but like existing in the space.
Yeah. And it's my hope in talking about this aspect of it that people can relate and know that that this version of darkness does exist. You know, like I get the feeling of, you know, however people felt about Robin Williams, like that's how I feel about Dianna, where she really impacted people positively in you know, at least in my experience in every interaction. And yeah, there's still something, you know, the other side of the equation, you know, she's very giving, but then I'm, you know, trying to do the math on like, hey, what are you receiving? You know, and to work on that side and to talk more, or I don't know, get more of an understanding about like how can we help people receive more, you know, when they are in that giving state. And maybe we can understand a little bit about the depression that goes on with those types of people, the Robin Williams type or the, you know, Dianna. And yeah.
One of the things is that, like, again, this is some sort of like framework that I feel like sometimes we need to teach adults, is that like adult relationships are transactional. And that like when I first heard this, I'm like, no, it's not transactional. I want to help people if I love them. If I don't want to help, like, but no, like if I want to hang out, I hang out. Like that's not how adult relationships work. Like there's some sort of transaction. Like if you are giving and always in that giving state, you are not doing yourself or anybody else favor. And when you recognize that like this needs to be a mutual thing and I should also be receiving something out of this friendship, relationship, this social interaction. And like yes, like she was DE, but I feel like at the same time not all DEs are like as giving as her, and as like she was such a fun character, like above all things. And I feel like she put herself last, like at least my interaction with her. She always tried to understand me, what I'm going through. But yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought now, but yeah, human relations are transactional, and I feel like also adults, especially DE adults, need to grasp that they also need to be getting out of something from social interactions. And also requiring things is not selfish. Like in social interactions, like wanting things for yourself is not selfish. It is a need, you know? if the other person, if you are willing to give to other person, you should also understand that you are allowed to ask for what you need. So that is the message to DEs.
Yeah, definitely. Well said. I think Anna is a very good example of someone who I feel like she does a good job trying to get her needs met.
She doesn't agree, maybe.
well, at least she makes the attempt. At least it's clear to me that she makes the attempt. I'm not saying, she's not prone to, negative situations and stuff like that. But it seems like she's always making the attempt to get something for herself. Whether it works or not, that's another conversation. But at least, if you're savior DE, like try to like at least do some math, do some thing, and it's easier said than done. But even taking some accounting, it all starts with awareness. I think that's why we're having the conversation, is like a lot of times we are completely unconscious of how these people are, and we have maybe a naive view because we have no awareness of what it's like to be a person like, Robin Williams or, those other people. Yeah. Play first, dragging other tribe members in. But and I think Russell Simmons is another one who's like play first and off, and like it's like he's trying to figure out how to give to himself, and it's but it happens. It's a particular flavor of that. But I was kind of curious, Linda, you hopped on. Did you have something you wanted to share about all this?
I don't know. I don't even know where to start, but it's like I only spoke with Dianna a couple of times, but it's like I've spent so much of my own life feeling really suicidal and thinking about it, and so it's like I just imagine how she must have been feeling, and it's always day late and dollar short, but I feel like if I just knew, I would have reached out to her in a heartbeat. Like, I can understand how you're feeling, and for an EJ, that's like the most isolating thing. It's kind of like being born into the world feeling isolated, like your DI is so separate from everyone. And so it's like, even if there's just one person who says hey, I see you, and I want to connect with who you are. Like, if she had just reached out to anybody, I'm sure any of us would have done that for her. And but I can also see how you just don't feel it. It just doesn't feel real. I don't know how else to say it.
That was very well said.
Yeah.
Very well put. You've done a great job at expressing yourself. This isn't the easiest thing to talk about in the slightest.
And there are also what Habib was saying, even if it doesn't end with suicide, I feel like there are a lot of play first. Why is this happening? There are a lot of play first EJs who are just going off the grid and leaving everyone behind and living in the woods and never talking to anyone again. Like, there's something happening along the way that, why is this happening? Maybe with technology. So yeah,
Such cute observer moments.
Yes.
so there must be something happening to the EJs, play first EJs, that lead to them to that point. And I think other people who are not play first EJs should recognize that maybe we take them for granted, and then again, we talked about this in the stream before, but we only realize what they bring to our lives after they're gone, after they decide to take themselves off of our lives. But maybe we should also process like how we can reach out to them, or like when they're in that constant giving mode, how to talk to them and how to like help them, because there must be like, maybe we are, at least personally, maybe I'm using a language that doesn't necessarily help them, doesn't reach out to them. Like, I think my mom is a play first EJ, and when I'm trying to give back to her, or when I'm trying to let her know that you should take things for yourself, not only be in that giving mode, I cannot necessarily communicate that well enough to her so that she also takes action on that. You know what I mean? She just brushes it off. But that's what I'm scared as well, that she will also get to a point of like, she will never want to interact with other people again, because she just gave so much of herself that now she's done with everyone.
I
Do you
think the
have thoughts
recurring
on that?
word for EJs is just validation. And
Mm-hmm.
I've actually tried the approach of like saying explicitly, I need validation. So please, if you see that I'm low-key asking permission for something,
Okay.
tell me that I'm allowed. It's verbatim the keywords that we all hear about EJs, and they're very real to us. So in any way, validating the DI is a very good idea for EJ, even if they're not in trouble or, you know, upset or anything. It's just like, we're happy to take it.
Yeah.
So,
Like words of affirmation in general.
I wouldn't call it words of affirmation. It's closer to just saying, yeah, go do that. Have fun. Go be that. Go, you're allowed. I don't know how to say it in simpler words. You're allowed. And I've asked that of my husband before. I said, can you please just tell me yes? And I will give him cues right before, like, I would say like, I'm thinking about going here after the gym or something, and he'll go, oh, that's nice. And I go, tell me I'm allowed. Literally, tell me that I can go. And then that makes it okay for me to go.
Also,
Yeah.
maybe like you are like being told, Anna, you are a good mom. You are doing so much for us. Like we see that, we appreciate that, Anna. Thank you. Maybe that type of thing as well. Like being recognized for all the things that you're doing.
That's too vague. That's
Oh,
too lacking sensory. So I would want more specific, like,
oh,
thank you for doing the dishes or thank you for
oh.
this. But yes,
Thank you
that's
for
always
cooking this
really nice.
meal. Okay, okay. You want
Yeah.
more
Now
SI, okay.
give her an itemized list, bullet points, and organized by the time of day when she did it. 9:06 a.m. Thank you so much for giving
Oh,
me cereal, my favorite cereal, the 2% milk,
stop, but
and
you're
my
not
favorite color
wrong.
spoon.
Uh, validation that I don't need permission. Yeah, but that's something DE will forget, that
Yeah,
you can do it without permission.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like a continuous reminder. That would be incredible. That we're constantly low key seeking from others anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's
That's
not like, and I don't know about you guys, but it's like, it's not that the people around me aren't allowing me. It's
right.
this internal battle of, I want to go do this, but then like internally, it's like, no, I'm not allowed. No, it doesn't matter. No, like, you know, nobody cares. Like, no, I've got to do this first. Like, it's this, like, it's all an internal conversation. And so then it's like, because my attention is like always on the outside,
Yeah.
to hear another person say, yeah, go do that, it's suddenly like it lifts like the internal barricade of like, oh, okay, because you said so, then it's like, fine, you know, the gates can go up, now I can go do it. But it's like, I even know it's just in me.
Yeah.
And
if other people didn't tell you that you can do it and you just decided to do it yourself, other people wouldn't stop you. You're the
Right,
one
and
to
I
stop
know
them.
that. Like logically,
Yeah.
I know this, and I know
Yeah.
like even if like the people around me stopped me, like I know that I would just go do it anyway.
Yeah.
But it's the internal thing of no, it doesn't matter. Like I can see myself internally shoving myself aside, and I can like I know the theory. Like I can like it, and this is what bugs the heck out of me. And I still can't make it stop. Like I still cannot make that reaction stop.
Yeah.
Even if I go do it by myself, I'll think to myself, I wish I didn't. I regret it
Yeah.
because somebody else said so. I should be doing what focus on someone else, not what I did. I'll feel selfish and guilty.
Yep. Because it's like I still see all of the things that need to get done out there for everyone else. And it's like, oh, I did this stupid thing and I didn't even really like it. Like if I'm going to do it for myself, I had better really love it. Because if I didn't, then it's like I just wasted my time. Because I needed to do this other thing and those other half a dozen things. And I wouldn't feel this guilty bad if I had done those. So now I just wasted time and didn't get the things done. Like it is just, it feels psychotic. It feels psychotic.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, in the other side of talking to EJs, is criticism. I feel like when you criticize EJ, they take it like so out of proportion. Like when you criticize them, they're like, "Oh, so I'm a bad mother." Like, no, I just criticized this specific thing. You just made it your whole identity. It's also hard to communicate. No, you are not a bad mother. No, you're not bad person. No, you're not stupid. I just didn't like this specific thing, type of thing, you know?
But then what goes through the EJ head is, but you didn't comment on the dozen things that I did just today for you.
Yeah.
Like that's not what you're mentioning. What you're mentioning is this one thing that you didn't like so much. But I am like exhausted right now and all of my self-control is gone because I have spent all of my energy doing these 12 other things for you. But
That you
you're
didn't
not
even
gonna
notice.
say. And it's like, and then like we'll hold it in because it's like, nope, I'm not allowed to complain until finally it's that one last complaint. Just the one. And it could be the most minor, tiny little thing, but like the cup overflows and you hear all of the things all at once.
This, yeah, this exact speech is my mom's speech.
Yep.
Like, well, you didn't think about
Yeah.
all the good things I've done for you.
I did this and this and this.
Uh-huh. And then feminine SI, I can't remember them, but I know I've spent all this time on these steps. Just, give me an hour and I'll write it all down for you to remember them. Yeah.
On that topic, I have like, I wouldn't call it a threat, but I said, can I record this conversation with you? Because I know that we've talked about this. Anyway, Deciderville over here.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's good to like talk it out because this is not like this shouldn't stay only in theory, you know, like in day-to-day life we are interacting with so many other people, and if we can like if this theory can help us communicate. Oh, hi, Catherine.
Hi, Sadet. How are you?
I'm good. How are you
Hi,
doing?
everyone else, of course. Haven't met many of you, but quite a few familiar faces. Hi, Aviv. Hi, Kim.
Hey, Catherine.
Hi. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you, Sadet.
No, I was just saying that if this theory can help us better communicate with each other, like why not use it? That's the whole point of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I think the other thing about the validation is that, I don't know if it's a consume last thing, is that, yeah, you, like, I can't even say the words, it's such, but it's like taking in the validation. Okay, I'll say that much. Like, that is completely separate than giving validation. Just because you give validation does not mean that an EJ is going to take it in.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
True. So that's why I suggest it to be very contextual and very in the moment.
Because a minute from now, it won't count anyway. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
these are so many requirements, guys. Like it's like a job application. Like you should lower the standards a bit.
Right. And I know why like people like are so annoyed at EJs, but it's like, and I wish I could stop. I wish I could just be the rational person that like I know what rational and realistic is. I just cannot make my mind function that way.
That way.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because like I think certain types must then react harder to EJs because like I think I have quite a few of them in my life and it's just play to me. It's just like making a decision together and then you go do something together. You know, like my dad's ex and I were still really close and whenever we meet, she's always like, "Do you want to do this, or should we do that, or should we do this?" And I was like, "I don't know. Maybe we should do this. Do you think that?" And then we just kind of bounce back and forth. But then I can see how that, like, for her gets to be. I mean, it becomes a life problem if she doesn't have me that doesn't find that to be bothersome. Eventually, you know, someone is gonna. I don't know what people say, but react to it ultimately. Do you the EJs and maybe the play firsts? Do you have someone like that in your life where it just kind of flows naturally, where it's not an obstacle, that it's just part of the interaction?
Yeah, I have a pretty good situation currently with my wife where, you know, we kind of joke about the validation parts. Like if I ask for permission, like, hey, can I have this bowl of cereal here? I know we're running out of cereal, that's why I'm asking. But she's like, yes, you can have cereal or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's nice, like we joke about it, but I'm trying to bring it into basically a higher level of consciousness for myself. Because normally, like 5-10 years ago, I would do that and not even think about it. Like, oh, that's a normal thing, right? But now it's just about being more aware of it. And the thing that I'm seeing is just that we need like these supportive environments. And it feels kind of like, and now I'm kind of jumping here, but like it feels like reparenting.
Yeah.
Like we're using these other people to reparent ourselves. Because the reason why I need the permission in the first place is because I don't feel whole in my DI. I was basically denied and rejected in my youth, in my childhood. And so I'm unsure of myself because when I did what I thought was right as a child, it was rejected. And so as I'm growing up and I'm making better friends and better family members and, you know, improving the environment around me. And this is more the double deciding perspective of like, you're improving your tribe ideally as you get older. And it's more efficient. Yeah, I'm saying it the TE way, but like the interactions, because I see like a ratio of like vibe to of the NF, the vibe to like you know, your decision making ability of like, you know, in 10 years it'll be easier for me to like make myself some, you know, breakfast, lunch, dinner without needing permission, you know. But currently I need just a little bit. And it just improves over time as you get that supportive environment and you're reparenting yourself and you're able to get to your DI faster. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess it helps also being able to have the words to communicate, you know, just like, this is my behavior. I know I'm like this. I can't really help it. But I'll, you know, if you let me, I'll practice with you. You know, it's, I think a lot of people, self-awareness is like, you know, it's a key to getting forgiveness from other people for the way that you are. That's super nice.
Yeah, I see DE as kind of like having a peanut gallery in my head. And so it depends on like, who am I paying attention to in the audience?
Yeah.
And so it's like I can totally change how I feel if like, oh wait, like, you know, I'm picturing so and so. It's like, no, I'm going to picture these other people. And so then they're going to be like, they would totally tell me that I can do this and I don't have to ask and it's fine. So it's like being aware of which peanut gallery members I'm looking at and then switching them out for new ones.
You got the play panels in your head.
Yeah, it's like having an audience follow you wherever you go. You're always performing.
Yeah,
That's
who do I go
wild.
to now? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's actually a very helpful tool. Like just as I've gotten older, sometimes I'll have conversations with myself where I'm like, why are you reacting this way now? Like you've been in a similar situation before where your reaction was very different. And it's like, what were the factors that made you act in a way that maybe you would have been more, I don't know, I suppose comfortable or kind of proud of, I suppose, or like that would have just felt more natural or something. And then you can imagine those scenarios. It's like, well, if I just switch that out and then I try going on this track, I suppose it's kind of like a play disease in a sense. Like you need to kind of live through all of those different play scenarios to then be able to switch them out and like re-practice, I guess, or just apply the learning from that social context or whatnot.
Yeah, it's like, who are you going with? It's like sending the energy in your head.
Yeah.
Like whoever you think you're with, it's like, no. Set them aside, invite some other people in your head with you.
Yeah. Did I interrupt you before, Kim?
No, you didn't. I'm having a similar. It's funny because I think my boyfriend is also an EJ, and so it's been really funny because I've been so aggressive on like the patterns. I'm like, hey, if it seems like I'm kicking your ass, I'm really not trying to. It's just not only have I called this out on myself, you have told me the exact same thing that I'm telling you, and you're not listening to it.
That's funny. Oh, that's super funny.
So I'll be like, hey, have you taken a meal break today? Or have you just been, doing your job back to back to back to back? It's okay to take a break. Or, hey, did you schedule things around yourself? No. Oh, you're working another 12-hour day? Where's your you time? Oh, you didn't take any you time?
Yeah.
Isn't it awful, like how you can see it in other people, but it's like you don't see it when you yourself are doing it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I knew immediately when he told me once that food got in the way of his efficiency. I'm like, there it is, sleep last EJ, there it is.
I think that's where it's very different for me, because I'm so desperately trying to protect me, and so, my husband is an EFI, officially typed ENFP, sensory unaware, doesn't really eat regularly or care about that sort of stuff. But I'll go and like make food for myself, and he won't eat all day until dinner and be like, oh God, why am I so tired? And I'm just like, well, you should have eaten. He's like, well, I didn't have time. And so I'm like, it's okay to ask me to give you some food, but I did not think of like him. I thought about me. I'm not doing others necessarily.
Interesting.
By default. It's weird. It's always on a weird swing. So I'm not playing out scenarios, other people's scenarios. I'm just doing me.
So how does the blast come out? Like the DE in the blast for you?
I just bulldoze. I know what I need and I do it. Like I don't put anything off ever. But it's very me centered. It's me. So flexible DI, but it's definitely present. Yeah.
Another thing with EJs that like something that I realized is that their environment and their group of people, whatever that group is allowing itself, that EJ is also allowing themselves. So for example, there was one lady, I don't remember, but we typed in the class, and she was with group of friends that were like going to like get manicure and pedicure and also get massages and all of that stuff. and because it was allowed in her group of friends, she allows herself like, I deserve a massage, I deserve a manicure, because like everyone else in my group is doing it. So it's like they're adapting to that group, and now massage is suddenly allowed, shopping is allowed because everyone in my group is doing it. Whereas when she was taken out of that group, she was like, am I allowed to go to shopping now that I'm not with those group of friends? So that's why I feel like maybe a good tip for EJs is whatever they want for themselves, go find that group, whatever that group is doing. So that's also what you want to do beforehand. Like, again, consciously, you have to decide this is what I want, and then find a group of people that are like routinely doing that, and just attach yourself to them, and here you got permission for yourself. Like, create some sort of strategy for that, maybe.
Yeah, I think that was really well said. And personally, it's a little bit shocking to me how, like, as an EP, I still have a lot of relatability with what you just said. Like, for DJs, it's like, yeah, if I tag along with a bunch of other people, like, it makes it 100 times easier to go and do that thing. I feel like it's a universal DE thing, which is crazy because, like, you know, when I get into the theory of it, like, I think, oh, in the grant stack, I have DE third, even if I'm a jumper, but it actually honestly feels very EJ like. Like, I relate so much with the EJs on that front. Because I still have all those. But it's actually a freedom. It's kind of very nice. You can build yourself up by having those groups and being part of those tribes that you can actually end up in really positive, good places. Like, I think Dave was saying he's still trying to figure out Ed Milet, and that dude is like an EJ who's like has a really nice life for himself. But like, you look at his friends, and he's friends with a bunch of, you know, successful people, and that's one way to give yourself permission to live a really good life.
You are who you surround yourself with too. So your tribe matters, right?
Yeah, that for everyone as well, like for DIs as well. There was one YouTuber that I was watching, like I typed her as like TENE, and she always wanted to get into bodybuilding, and she would never bring herself to do it because her group of friends were just like not into going to gym and stuff. So she moved to a new place that's like closer to gym and made friends with people who go to that gym. And then she got signed to that gym with them, and then she started bodybuilding, and then her friends dragged her into the bodybuilding, but she was like, I wanted to do bodybuilding before, but now I got the group of friends. I can finally do it with them. And that is like perfect for her, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of become who you hang out with. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why I don't want to like make friends with smokers, you know? I don't want to become a smoker. Like,
Depends how easily influenced you are.
Yeah.
I don't want to be influenced. Therefore, I'm not allowing myself to be influenced by those people, you see? Yeah.
I just saw your question, Ben. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about Deanna over the past couple of days. I think she was like really remarkable as a person. Obviously, I wasn't super close with her or anything, but we met in various OP contexts. And last time I spoke to her was probably 6 months ago. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it's obviously incredibly sad. And I think just losing such an amazing person. I mean, she was so quirky and so fucking funny. It's just really, it's just sad is all it is. I mean, I had lots of good conversations with her. I remember like feeling very like pulled towards her because she reminds me a lot of someone I used to be really good friends with that I kind of had a falling out with. And I remember I spoke to her about that, and she gave some really good advice, and she was very forgiving and like helped me navigate that situation. And it's you know, even the last time I spoke to her, I was like, I felt like I was talking to my old best friend, which was just, it's really just really sad. I think I wish she would have, found what made her happy sooner, and that she would have doubled down on that so she could have been happy, But she was amazing. She was super cool.
Yeah, one quality I reflect on that I was in voice chat conversations with her, and as well as like other calls with her, and she had a very unique ability of like just more than anyone else, like she could cut through the bullshit like so quickly, so fast, and talk about the thing that everyone's afraid to talk about. And she was also simultaneously, she was very insightful about it. And
she was very wise, I think. Yeah, she could ask like very jarring questions, I think, like not just emotionally jarring, but like she would and like sometimes it maybe wasn't like exactly what someone was trying to process, but it was still like a very relevant question for that scenario, and it like helped the conversation move forward. It was super cool. She was she had a lot of like lightness around her, she just yeah, what do the kids call it nowadays? Like she had main character energy, like you felt like you were like watching like a plot unfold kind of when you were in her presence. It was she was very impactful, I think.
Yeah, as well said. Very beautiful. Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah. Yeah. What you told before, Ben, my favorite anecdote about her. When the divorce papers. And when you said that she had to walk up to the lady who had handed her the papers, and she had to ask for new ones because she had accidentally drawn flowers all over the paper.
But like it was obvious. Yeah, obvious this happens to everybody, right? Yeah.
It's just so cute. Like it's just the sweetest thing. Yeah. I mean, I said to you, Ben, that I think like certain people are almost like too pure for this world, like, and she just had a lot of purity about her. She was so kind, and like, there was no like, I don't know.
Ulterior motives.
Sorry?
Ulterior motives.
Yeah, there were no ulterior motives. Like she wasn't trying for anything. She was just the most amazing character in this most like unfiltered way, and she just happened to be a great person, and that just seeped out into the world. I think that's super cool. So yeah.
This is, I think, the like intuitive curse. I feel like if I can understand why something has happened, it's not going to hurt anymore, but it's not that way. I can understand why something happened and it still hurts. So just understanding the why behind it doesn't really help.
Yeah. I liked what you said, Ben, about like not shutting down a person no matter what they're processing. Like
Yeah.
she was obviously carrying a lot of heavy thoughts and I think like there are so many norms. Obviously, I will think this as an EP, but there are lots of I think norms that people are fighting when they're trying to live their life and process things, and then people keep a lot of things from themselves. Maybe not all types, but I would assume most people live also
She
in,
did, yeah. Yeah. No, but she was really good. She realized all that for sure in the
She
end.
did, yeah.
100%. Yep.
That's
She
super
realized all
cool.
that.
So she
She
could,
was very processed, yeah.
yeah, she like cut through kind of the expectations that I think, or like she understood what people expected from her in terms of what she was processing, but she, I mean, you have to give her that she dared to kind of touch really dark places in herself, which is
Yeah, she came to a conclusion that she didn't want to burden anyone with her processing, and everyone around her felt burdened by it.
yeah.
And yeah, she one of the reasons she wrote in her note in the end was yeah, she didn't want to burden anyone else.
Yeah. Mm. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I got the sense that she was always trying to like warn the people in her life about various outcomes that she
Yeah.
like she was really and she did so with like a lot of desperation, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
and I just
It was really hard for her to accept
yeah.
people in her life, like her old life, um, friends of 20 years and stuff. It was difficult for her to accept some of the things they were doing as well. Yeah. Some of their lifestyle choices, some of, yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a source of conflict.
Yeah. And I mean, it's difficult for people to reconcile when you know maybe a big part of that path or the choice or the life that you've built is great, and then maybe there's a part of it that you fear for, or like you fear something, and you can't change it, and then you
Yeah.
get set off, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if she could have processed her way out of this.
No, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah, not I don't know, like not alone, but then also like I hear what you're saying, Ben, where yeah, the people around her and that kind of thing. It's kind of the situation where I think it was already talked about something about, oh, did you try seeing a therapist? And then I guess the idea would be to see another one, and I'm sure she tried as much as she could for all those avenues. But yeah, it's painful when, you know, those, I don't know, it's not working out. Like you apply the right solution and it just doesn't work. Yeah, I can see how that feels like you're running out of options and stuff. But theoretically, you know, therapy and suicide hotline and these places, it's supposed to help. It's supposed to work. It's supposed to. Now, does it actually? And
So okay, so take a
Yeah.
picture a little bit. You are a person who is impossible to understand. Nobody has any patience for you to understand anything you have to say. So you just stay light. You stay light your whole life. You make people happy. You give them good reactions, and then when you finally find someone who is capable of taking that time, it's just not one person. It's hundreds of people.
Yeah.
She needed a lot of people in her life to help her process, and she didn't have that.
Well, I think like maybe this is just sleep last talking, but I mean, there's like I think when someone like Dianna passes the way that she has, it's also a symptom of something that's much bigger. It's not just her life. I think a lot of people feel incredibly isolated.
No, I definitely feel like the world failed her for sure. Yes.
Yeah, it's an
100%.
epidemic. I mean, and I'm from the loneliest country in the world, Sweden, and I hate it here. Like I think there's also a bigger perspective in it, that it's you know, how long are you going to treat the symptoms of maybe not isolation in Deanna's case, but it's maybe an effect of not having a close-knit community or a big enough community. I mean, where we come from as a species now, it gets very info.
She never really had a father either.
No, exactly. So I think all people need we need reparenting. Like we grow up in very, you know, or at least in many cultures, we grow up lacking connection just by default, and it's not. I don't think it's doing us any good. Like I think, and by that I mean also just finding places and spaces where we, you know, we can work on ourselves, and as we should, but we also, you know, a lot of people are just looking for acceptance, and they're looking for love, and I think love is acceptance. So there's like that aspect to it as well. When a, you know, I'm not saying that a specific individual failed Dianna. I don't think that's how these things happen. I think it happens from just accumulation over time. Eventually,
for sure,
it gets to people, and people have the right to feel robbed of connection. Like whether you're, you know, the sleepiest IP, I don't know, to the most extroverted EJ, it's everyone has a place and a role and like inherent value just by being born into, you know, a specific, you know, set of prerequisites. But sometimes, you know, all these little islands that people are, like, people don't get reached, and it's just really sad. Like I think in the past we were better as a species at like valuing and just finding a place and a space for everyone, and like just without over it like forcing them to adjust. And I don't mean that in an EP sense. I just mean like in just starting from a place of like you're just perfect the way you are, and then you can work with that as the baseline. But yeah, I mean, I hope she got to experience that she was valuable, and I think in many contexts she probably did feel that, but then she was processing other things, obviously.
Yeah, you are definitely right. Like quality of our lives depends on the quality of our relationships. Like the loneliness that a lot of people experience and the lack of quality relationships that we have in our lives is just pushing people towards loneliness, and they feel maybe they cannot reach out to other people, or even when they reach out, they do not feel listened to or understood. And the worst maybe the worst option is to like end the life, and there are like people opting for that is because they do not see any way out of this loneliness, and they do not want to experience this anymore. Like, you know how like it takes like a village to raise a kid, and if that kid doesn't feel the warmth, it will burn down the village. So
Yeah.
What's this one, Kat?
Oh, it's just replying to Eureka,
Okay.
who asked, so a community like OPS doesn't establish such connection, and I think I just said that.
Communities in general are problematic. I just got to say, they're not all great.
Of course, you will say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I said before that like I think OPS is great, and I think like the bottom line of what Dave and Shan are trying to do is great. But sometimes I think, you know, especially with typology, it can attract people that are searching for themselves, and I think it requires a really whole and stable person to facilitate spaces. Because if a person is discovering themselves, and I don't mean that in a DI or like sleep way necessarily, but if they're unprocessed on any part of what it means to be a human being, then there's going to be ego in that, and there's going to be some kind of should, which then automatically excludes a could be or it would be. So there's a risk with OP as well, I suppose.
I think that risk is like the danger is already happening. Like there will like we all come to typology to like categorize and just put people into boxes, but then we forget that those are just boxes, and there's just whole human in it. That is
there's like a completely crazy experience of being a human being outside of
letters and numbers. Come on.
yeah.
And we forget that these letters are just like only the sliver of the person, and then they have their whole experience of like whatever they've gone through in their life, and their understanding of the world and their experiences, and we are just like, oh, you're just sleep last, or you're just blast last. Of course you will say that, of course you will think that. Like, it just, I've talked about this before, but I sometimes wish that I wasn't typed and no one was typed. We just knew like, I wish no one was typed so we could just know these concepts and see these concepts in each one of us, and just like, I am in this like frame, or I'm in this stage of my life where I'm experiencing this, not just like, oh, you are that identity.
Yeah, it's like you're reinforcing your own patterns. Once you have a pattern and you fit into that, it feels comfortable, and you can see the world in that way, and you can be that way, and then you're reinforcing it even more.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like after you get typed, like after knowing someone's type, you kind of feel like relieved, like, okay, I do not have to get to know you anymore. I know your code, so you are. Hi, Griff.
Griff, how you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good. How's it going?
Good. Yeah. How are you processing all this? It's tough. Griff is on a team with Dianna for a long time.
I'm sorry, Griff.
Yep. Yeah, I'm out. I can't with this community no more, because this is what happens. Because people come together around marriage issues, religious issues, and life and death, and all kinds of important issues in OP, and they use it as a justification to basically make decisions that ends up hurting them.
Wait.
Now Deanna got really hurt.
before we go into like the observer thing, can we talk about Deanna a little bit?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Deanna got really hurt, and
No,
that's
but like
because we all let her
about her
down.
as a person, about her as a person, who she was, how she was hurt in general. Not because OP did do this. She had a family. She was with her
Yeah, the
family.
community did this.
She was away. She was away from OP, 100%.
Yep.
She was
And
trying to
the
get
whole
away.
pathway got started because of this community.
Griff, I understand that you need to blame something or someone or somewhere, and the answer is you can't put your finger on any one thing. It's just a very general failure of everything.
Sounds like a lack of accountability.
No, it's you have to be more accountable to the information.
You got to be accountable to it all, man.
Yeah. But you loved Deanna as a person. Like we can talk about this in terms of you and her as people.
Yeah, that's definitely what it involves. Is that this was someone I cared about. So
100%.
We should have checked on her, man.
We should have checked on her. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, we failed her. Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Griff, would you like to share maybe some memories with her?
You guys would get high and type people together. Come on.
Yeah, no, I think that was my favorite. Was that back when I first met her, that we ended up like both having a common interest in marijuana, you know, and then we do that. And then I had some friends from college that I would get on video chats with her around, and she got really along well with all my friends and stuff. So, you know, it was always natural with her, always easy. She made me and my friends feel nice and accepted and everything. So I think memories like that. One day I was at Burger King and I was on a video chat with Dianna and my friend, and I think my friend was like some sort of low sleep kind of guy, like, and they just bounced the ball back and forth so amazingly. And so those just memories like that is what I remembered about Deanna.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
Mhm.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
You guys both very close in type as well with the NF and the NE. Like you were comparing all the time her FE and your FI.
Yeah, she uses buzzwords. I call them buzzwords because the
Right.
FE, the NEFE, she would latch on to who you are as a person and what kind of words you're using, and then to connect with you, she would match your words. And I noticed her do that with anyone I brought into her space. She would always find the words to connect with them.
Oh, you picked up on that. Okay, that's nice. I never picked up on that. That's a good one. Yeah. She wasn't doing it on purpose. It was just natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It bridged the communication gap a lot of the times whenever there was a misunderstanding, because, you know, she's a very deep thinker and had a lot to say. And, you know, with us being blast, it's hard to communicate sometimes, but with her catching on to those buzzwords, it bridged that communication gap a lot of the times.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, if you're using OPS as a religious or marital tool, then this is what's going to happen. This is going to keep going. So let's all just take more responsibility and let's avoid this in the future.
How's your music business going? Right. Thank you, Griff. I appreciate you.
To Griff's point,
Yeah.
I think he's making a good point. Maybe I'm not making the same point, but just the potential dangers of bringing OP theory into relationships.
I agree that it's 100% nuanced, way more nuanced than that. But yes. Yeah. I think this kind of thing has, like all technology, potentials, dangers, risks, and very good applications. And yeah, if you don't know which button's the nuclear bomb and which one's free energy,
yeah,
good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people touched on it earlier, but there's a whole thing. I think you guys were talking about like the SI definitions, where like it seemed like Deanna was frustrated that she couldn't speak in this language that she found with other people, outside of OP, let's say.
Yeah, no,
That
because what Griff was
yeah.
saying is really true. She picks up words like that from other people, and then she's got her own whole set of words. So the things she's doing for everyone else, nobody can do for her because she's doing it with way too many people. So you really have to learn a new language when you're speaking to Deanna.
And it is like, that's why I think like people like Dianna, where they have their own set of like language with the NESI, when you do not understand them, they get very frustrated and they feel very isolated. And
Yeah.
I don't know
She
if you
didn't get
can play.
frustrated. She was in total acceptance of that, and she was okay with it. It was okay. Yeah. But yes, the isolated part, 100%. That's exactly what it did. Yeah.
Maybe it is the other people's frustration with not being able to understand the person that she's speaking, she's expressing herself, but you cannot just get into her head and completely understand what she's trying to say. I don't know.
It's kind of like investing in learning Latin and only speaking in Latin.
Yeah.
And it's like you're not going to have very many connections that way. And why I'm bringing this up is just so if anyone is learning this typology language, to make sure to have your foot in the other door or in the other room of like, hey, keep your English or whatever language you're using, keep being able to go to the grocery store and talk to people, keep being able to relate with the everyday normal human. That's
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes take a break from typology communities and typology things just to get back to censor real life with other people who do not constantly categorize and constantly label, this is NI, this is NE, this is this bullshit. Like, just
I think she was
present in
She
your
wasn't
day-to-day life.
she wasn't only anti-typology, she was very also pro-typology. She was very appreciative of a lot of it. It gave her a hard time. It did. And she was trying to stop, like all of her other consume habits, she was trying to stop that one too. And it was really hard.
Yeah.
Speaking typology speak, using whatever that is, because especially like Griff said, she absorbs people's languages for sure.
Yeah.
But also, like, I'm speaking in general, like getting out of the mindset of trying to explain every human behavior with typology. That is, I think, gets very like dangerous at times, trying to explain everything with typology and with every behavior, both trying to understand yourself and other people.
So I can just put it to, can I infodom you with the TI a little bit?
Okay.
All right. So let's just say you have a complex structure and you want to project it down to lower dimensions in order to perceive that complex structure in a certain way. So when you do that, you lose a lot of the dimensionality, but you get something in return. You get some kind of categorization, but you can never completely capture that entire structure in the projected plane. You can never capture that structure because you're always reducing its dimensions. So any typology like OP is just one way to crush that humanness that we have into project it down into a way that we can understand it, a way we can conceive of it, because the entire whole of it is way too complex. Yeah. And so typology is useful, but it's just one of those ways to crush down humans into a perspective. Yeah.
That's why I'm suggesting sometimes taking a break off of it, because to remind yourself this is just a very tiny sliver of the person or of the projection.
Maybe that's something she was definitely trying to do.
No, I'm speaking not only for Dianna, I'm speaking for general, because there were times where I just got like too addicted and too deep into this and I couldn't see anything else. And I
So
was
you
trying to explain
self-regulated.
everything.
You self-regulated. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. You got a higher sleep too.
No, to be honest, the only reason why I like snapped out of it is because I got mistyped. So I'm like, maybe this isn't as
Right.
real as I thought it was, and then I reconsidered everything. Yeah, then I woke up. Yeah.
Yeah, you lived your life and people projected onto you a certain way for years. And then it was like,
Yeah.
oh, that wasn't who you were. Yeah.
Hold on, do you see the
I
irony of
projected
that?
onto myself with that framework, and then I'm like, what the hell is going? Yeah, it was just a mind fuck.
That do you see the irony of that? Like, it's only because you're mistyped that you can actually look at it in a way that's like kind of healthy.
Exactly. So
And
funny,
so
yeah.
everyone is prone, right? Like Deanna was not mistyped. Like everyone is prone to like having this perfectionistic view of OP or of any typology or anything or any theory. And when we have this perfectionistic view about things, then we kind of jump off a cliff. We,
Yeah,
can go all in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but my thing works. It's never been wrong. It's like,
yeah,
invest in your 401k. Sure, you're going to be a billionaire. Sure, that's fine. But go invest in your 401k.
You found something else to blame here, Griff. That's good. I still love you, man, and I would want nothing but the best for you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I talked about a little bit what we're talking about here in that video. Thanks.
It was nice talking to you guys. I'm gonna have to jump out.
Okay.
But
Thanks for coming, Kat. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you for
Yeah.
saying nice words about Deanna. It was
Yeah.
very meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah, she was wonderful. So, good night, guys.
Good night.
Thanks.
Griff, man, you want to come back on? I mean, let's not talk about that right now. Let's talk about how you're processing what's going on with Deanna, because she was a person and you loved her. So let's talk about that, man. And all this stuff is just nonsense. You love Deanna, and I know you did. So
He just needs to like take it out on something.
yeah, I know. I understand that 100%. I know, man. It's not for today to realize. It's okay. Anger is a big stage. Yeah.
At the end, like all we can try to do is just be kinder to each other and kinder to ourselves, Griff.
That's the NI of everything. That's just one way to interpret feelings. Everyone expresses feelings differently, and Griff is having a lot of anger right now.
Yeah.
But that's probably how you would express it, Eureka. That's how I express it too. I know it is, bro. I know it is. Come back on if you want to talk. If you're just angry, just let the anger go away first, and then we can talk. We can get back to it. I just wanted to respect Deanna and leave her something. I don't know. She'll never get to see it. That's the sad part. We should have all done this for her when she was still around. But Yeah.
Maybe she's watching this. You don't have like sleep enough to
Maybe
like.
she is. Maybe she is. I do. I lit a candle for her. See, here, it's gone. 72-hour one. It lasted a lot longer.
I'm pretty sure if she's watching this right now, she's very happy that we all remember her very like nicely, and everybody got to see different side of her. And
She wouldn't care. She wouldn't care. She would want to make sure you're living nicely. She would want. That's what she would really want.
yeah,
She would want the best for everyone else. Yeah.
I feel very lucky to like having met her and experienced her joy. So
Yeah. Here, I got something from her here. I haven't opened it yet. It's old. She got me these water filters that I didn't want.
Oh.
And it's still in the box. And yeah, I guess I'm going to use them. But I had to pay taxes on them too. I was like, please don't send them to me, please. And she sent them to me. So I had to pay a whole bunch of tax.
The customs? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, that's okay. Thank you, Deanna. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. She had a lot of ways to express love, but definitely that was one of them. Yep.
Yeah, at least she didn't send you fruit basket. She sent you something useful.
Oh no,
you see?
she was an NT at heart. She was an NT at heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
She liked all of her tools, all of her gadgets, 100%.
Yeah. Kim.
I think you're muted, Kim. No, your mic's dead.
You see, I'm not the only one who's having problems with this.
Yeah.
But she's
No.
chill about it. Just kidding.
You look who's shaming me.
I'm so kidding.
I know.
No, I like the water filters. I just have to clean out the thing that holds it, and I can't be bothered. So I'll just drink tap water. It's okay.
Is tap water drinkable there?
Whatever.
Oh.
All right, perfect. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Great. I was using my mic wasn't working. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, okay, wait, it's not. All right, be right back. Let me fix that. Even though I was hitting the unmute button, apparently I was still muted. Technology,
Yeah, you're
man.
back now. What were you trying to
Perfect.
say?
FE fruit basket. That was it.
No. Yeah, she really hated a lot of the stuff they said on FE.
Yeah.
I
A
can
lot
see
of
why.
the FEs feel very misunderstood by that, like everything that
Yeah.
they should say.
She was looking for a TI though to understand the world through. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's not, I don't know. It kind of felt more to me like building down than building up. And I think that was most of our processing was trying to build up instead of building down.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is exactly how I'm supposed to work on my FE. I should buy fruit baskets for people. Then I'll have good FE, right? That's how it works. According to OPS, OPS says fruit baskets.
Or make like cakes and pie and send them.
To who? To you? Are you hungry?
Oh, there's two of me. Let me get...
There's two of you.
Gift giving is interesting. I would, you know, I don't. We're not exactly ritual tradition people. So my husband and I don't really. We forget our anniversaries. We forget our birthdays all the time. It's not necessarily very important. Oh, it's kind of like a whoops. Oh well. But
That's
I
not
think
really SI of you. Dates matter, right?
only for masculine SI. Just kidding. Yeah, we both have feminine observers at the top. Yeah, so we just I just go right away. But the thing about gifts is authenticity. We both have FI. Like, you know, if it's okay that it's not on time, but the gift, if you're going to give it, better be appropriate or like a good FI match to that person. So that's very important.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Tanya. Nice group today.
Oh, you're welcome.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was trying to respond to that comment. I went to say, I should have said thank you. I said you're welcome by accident. Get my compliments mixed up.
Does anyone have anything to say to wrap everything up? Any last words before we go off? We can go everybody, or I don't know. David, you haven't said anything. You're hiding over there, little IP. I caught you.
All right, I'll talk a little bit. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've just been fighting off some demon feelings as we go on here. I only watched the interview of Deanna, and saw that we had pretty similar types, and just how we would process things. And yeah, I really loved how she went about things in life. It was really cool to see such a nice and lovely person, and it's hard to see that she's not here anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to process that. I know I always process, people's death in my life before it happens.
Oh, you do that too? That's interesting. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. You weren't here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would describe it as like any like visualizations. They'll just watch something and just try to see where it goes after that. So looking at the grass, I'll see the grass I'll see it grow. And if I'm thinking about Deanna's story, it just keeps going to that, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'd say. Fighting those demon feelings.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking up the blast for me.
No, that's awesome, David. I appreciate it. That was beautiful. Well done. Yeah.
Thanks.
Habib, do you have a story about Deanna that you remember? I know you talked to her quite a bit. She was around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. The one story that I think about is like one of the it's kind of about me. It's like in terms of I don't know, when I first kind of came into the OP community, like I think people were wondering about my type or something, and I didn't really know what people were saying, you know, behind my back or something like that. Like I think I probably came in with like, oh, is this you know, I came in with some like, let's say, aggression or something. I don't know.
Well,
But
that exists in this community. It exists in every community. Yeah, it's just humanity.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
I think what, like some months after I got typed, I was in a conversation with Deanna, and she was like, "Oh, you know, we were wondering what your type was. You know, we're like, what kind of crazy type is this guy?" And
Oh,
like,
wow.
just even to get that like FE report from Deanna, it was just like, for me, I feel like me going through life as a number one SATE, whatever, like I feel like there's me and the life I'm living, and then a bunch of stuff happening behind my back, behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have no idea what those conversations are about, what's going on, what are people saying about me, what do people think I'm not ready to hear? And you know, Deanna was always the kind of fourth wall breaking character in that moment, where like she's like, oh, you know, this is, you know, we just thought you're this crazy type, and you know, we just want, or crazy guy, we're wondering what type you were. And it kind of like softened, you know, the narrative, because otherwise I'm just, you know, either unaware of what people think about me and stuff like that, and other social decider stuff that I have in my head.
Yeah.
But it was very, very good. You know, she always knew how to like talk about people and make everything softer, make everything a little better. Like you know, I always felt better in every conversation with her. And also another thing is, another quick thing is just when we'd be in VC, she would like talk and go on a long story with like Blast Last and kind of share what's going on.
Yeah.
And then like I thought it'd be done, or like I kind of got it, and then it would just go further and harder and more interesting and just more entertaining. It was just it was just, yeah.
That was her strategy. Yeah, she told me about that. So she
Absolutely.
she likes interesting things that will get shock out of people. So she tries to make the stories as interesting as possible, for sure. She just wants that interesting shock that keeps people engaged in whatever it is. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is just that she'll be in my memories forever. And you know, I appreciate, I'm happy to have known her. Yeah, while she was here. But
yeah. Hopefully we can deserve her better. All right, guys. Thank you. I appreciate everyone coming out and sharing about Deanna. It means a lot. Love you all. Peace.
Absolutely. Thanks.